This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Gaz, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast.
Oh, are we? Can I say something?
We're live. Yeah, we're live. Welcome to the XCC Podcast. How you doing, everybody? This is episode 81. I'm Colteastwood, the host, and I've got with me over here my esteemed co-host, Gaz from Game On Daily. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm great. I got Mag in the house. Oh, man, my brother from another mother is going to feed all the energy. I'm going to sit back and just enjoy. That's what I'm going to do. And this 1 a.m., I'm sick and tired of this. But I'm going to chill with my bro, Mag. It's going to be wicked, man. Thank you, Cole. There's a lot of things going on. Everyone stop tagging me in that Bloomberg article for sake.
Oh, my gosh. We'll get into it. I love the pony hat. And speaking of ponies, we got Mag, the middle-aged gamer guy with us. Mag, how are you doing, man? I'm a big fan. Love your nonsense. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here tonight, guys. What an absolute great night. Look at it. We got Gaz, we got Colt, we got a great chat already going, almost 300 people. Hit that like button. I want to see you guys get all excited tonight. But let me tell you something, all right? Yes, Ponymaster 420 has come out of retirement. I took a break for about a month or so. A lot of people were upset. They're like, where the hell's Ponymaster 420? And I said, you know what? I said, the problem is right now, everybody's playing games, so no one's talking nonsense. But then all of a sudden, in the last few days, it's like the Huns came out of their cave. And I'm like, well, I can't ignore it now, so I got to get going. So I'm back on the air. I'm back making videos. I'm back doing what I got to do. And you know what? With all the news that we're going to be talking about tonight, there's going to be a whole lot of videos coming up real soon. But anyways, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got a lot of big things to discuss. Even breaking news we only broke about an hour ago. We're going to talk about that too. Let's get into the show.
Yeah, very great introduction and news we don't even understand. We'll have to say that, right? We don't even understand it. It's so crazy. But we'll also talk about some bad news today, and we got some good news. But Gaz, I mean, you've been knee deep in the sauce, bro. Let me, before we get rolling into the show, I got to talk about the absolute shank ream that I took. Just totally got reamed on social media today and yesterday. I will open up the show quickly. I tweeted out yesterday afternoon because, to preface this, Paul Tassi from Forbes, I'm a big fan of his. He wrote, what if Xbox just gives all their games or exclusives to PlayStation to appease the regulators so they can just get going and just do their thing? And the media has been like, yeah, why are Xbox getting all these exclusives? And then the regulators are saying, hey, why does Xbox get to buy these studios? And why are these games that have always been on PlayStation getting pulled away? And so here's my tweet. And then I'm going to let Gaz take it from here. And if he has the topics notes, he can actually read this tweet. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but Christopher Dring from GamesIndustry.biz decided to call me out 24 hours after I made the tweet. So here's the tweet I said. Xbox is going to buy more studios. If you only have a PlayStation, I suggest expanding where and how you play. And people are so
harmless tweet,
mad.
Right? Pretty harmless. Nope. Christopher Dring, he came for your ass. Why? Why is such a this is why I even said, chat, as I asked him, like, is there something going on? Did you just shit on it? Sorry. Do you just poo on his cornflakes? Why is... Sorry. What's going on? Why is he being so weird? Such a... fairly harmless comment, no?
The whole point was that Xbox is going to have exclusives, and they're going to buy more studios. Like, this is going to be a thing. And then the media is acting like, how could you take games away from PlayStation? The whole thing is, if you were only on a PlayStation, Mag... Yeah, you have to have a different avenue. And it's implied, Mag, that Xbox's games are on PC, they're on iOS and Android screens, they're on xCloud, they're on Xbox consoles or other cloud-based devices, right? So I don't know.
Christopher Drink said just quickly, he says, tell me the game industry is full of middle class people without telling me the game industry is full of middle class people. I'm like, mate, the flip are you talking about? So I did come at him. I just said, what do you mean? Like Colt said, if you only have a PlayStation, I suggest expanding where and how you play. To which I said, well, that could mean Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Cloud. Like, it doesn't mean you go buy another console. So what about that? Then he goes, oh, but paying for Game Pass and streaming to your phone, it may be cheaper, but it's not free. Well, who the flip said it was free? Like,
what is free?
I don't know. Apparently, gaming is a charity. While this guy backs bloody PlayStation is anti-Game Pass narrative as well.
The most expensive gaming platform on the planet.
Exactly.
Meg, what do you have to say about this?
First of all, you know what? I'm gonna disagree with you with your statement, Colt. You don't need to expand your horizons when it comes to these different. You know why you don't have to? Because you already have these things. Who doesn't in this day and age? Who doesn't have a phone?
Right.
Who doesn't have a tablet? Who doesn't have a smart TV unless you're living in a swamp? The thing you could buy a smart TV.
Shout out to the swamp people, just a PlayStation 5.
Right.
And a PSVR 2.
I just offended all the swamp people. That's it. I'm getting canceled. Anyways, here's the thing: is that
the swamp creatures are like, I don't like doing it.
It's reprehensible what he said. You can buy a smart TV for $300 now at Walmart. Okay, so the thing is, these things all exist. Then what's going to be happening soon when we get the tile on the screen? Okay, like they're already doing now. That's it. Colt just left the show. It's over. He's done.
That's it.
It's over. Throw in the towel.
It's in the middle of the winter. I have to open my window because you guys already got me overheated.
Jeez, that's it. I thought he was done. I'm like, that's it. I said 4 lines. He walked away. I just marched.
I'm giving you the show, Mag. You and Gaz got it from here on.
Jeez. Welcome to the NC. I can't even say it now without.
Pewju in the chat says I feel attacked. So shout out to Pewju hanging out in the swamp.
There you go, in the swamp. Now here's the thing. A lot of these things you already have, okay? You have access to all these things anyway. This was Microsoft's plan from the beginning. They're saying, why put up the paywall? Sure, put up the paywall if you want to have the premium experience. That's always going to be the case, right? For example, you could buy a $100,000 car for the premium experience, or you could take the bus for $1. So it doesn't really make a difference. You have the options. That's what I'm saying,
exactly.
Right? So the thing is, Microsoft said, yes, sure, there'll be a paywall, but that will not be the only way that you'll be able to access. How do you like, for example, Candy Crush. Candy Crush, you don't have to spend $1,000 on a console to do it. Sure, you got to spend $1,000 on a phone, but you were doing that anyway. Because you're going to be calling your friends, calling your whatever, texting this, doing things for work, watching YouTube in the bathroom, whatever the hell you're doing.
These guys on $1,000 phone telling me, I don't need an Xbox. How dare you? I'm like, I didn't even say you need to buy a console.
Exactly. And so what do you think? Microsoft's foolish? The Series S is part of their plan. The access to all the other media are part of the plan. The fact that they're going to be buying King is not an accident, because this is what they wanted. That mobile market is where the billions are made. Not selling 10 million copies of Miles Morales or 20 million copies of Spider-Man. That's not going to make you billions. That's going to make you just enough to be able to squeak by you so you can make a sequel. Where you're going to make the billions and really rake it in is by opening up that mobile market. That is the goal. Call of Duty's not even on the goal. Anyway, I didn't want to go off on a tangent. I was just going to say, I do agree with you, but at the same time, these guys who are saying all these things, it's absolutely ridiculous. The access to all the, for example, I'm doing the show right now on a laptop. Okay, my other PC's upstairs, but I'm doing it on a laptop. Guess what? I can play Game Pass right here. Well, yeah, come on. Yeah. And the thing is, I've got all these things. I could play Game Pass right here, right now, right? Yeah. But I have this laptop for work and for podcasting. The hell, guys! You know what I mean? But the problem is, up until recently, PlayStation, the only way you could play PlayStation is on PlayStation. Sure, they got a sprinkling on PC. Okay, they got a sprinkling on PC now. Yeah, like eventually they're kind of squeaking them out one by one. But like the thing is, basically, you need the PlayStation in order to do that. And they haven't broadened their horizons. So the paywall is absolutely there, and just like you said, Cole, the most expensive paywall. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Colin Moriarty just said a couple weeks ago, Gaz, he said, if you want the premium expensive experience, you play on PlayStation. Right?
It's just, on the one hand, we're like, I don't get what we're doing. Like, you're pretending that this medium isn't always been quite expensive, yet you're picking on the platform that is remarkably open beyond its borders than anyone, Nintendo or PlayStation. So why is Xbox being judged in that lens? I'll tell you why. It's because Microsoft actually enables this kind of narrative by being kumbaya, by being all these statements. And now we saw it with Starfield. We're like, oh no, we will let everyone play by Xbox exclusive. It's just constant conflicting messaging as well. At the same time, like, we want to fight, we like exclusivity, but we want to open it for everyone. Then Sarah Bond comes on and you got Xbox exclusive emblazoned behind her for Starfield, and it's just like, stick to your lane, like pick something, because they've been purposely obtuse with Bethesda's Starfield stuff, where Asa got into it really well. He explained it on Go Live, but now it's just, I don't, and all that, the cumulative impact of Microsoft and Phil Spencer and being Mr. Good Guy is this kind of situation where everyone's expectations are Microsoft, open your legs, because they're already open for everyone. And then everyone at PlayStation just don't even sit on the table. PlayStation doesn't sit on the table. Yeah. Look at today. We've found out, I don't know if it's too early, but let me kind of just, Bloomberg have come out with this statement saying Microsoft is part of their decade-long offer for PlayStation also allowed bloody Call of Duty to be on PlayStation subscription services. Now we need more detail than that. I hope there's some monetary consideration for that to happen. But
it's very vague.
Are you serious? Everyone said at one point, no way is this going to happen where they're going to allow it on PlayStation Plus. The whole point is to push Game Pass. But everything, they've literally gone and offered everything. Like, here's 10 years, take every concession, and PlayStation still has not said anything. And I have a question to the legal team at Microsoft, who are obviously being paid very, very well. I'm a tiny lawyer, nowhere near in corporate world, but you're offering all these concessions. Is there a time limit on these? Because what is compelling Sony to sit across the table? Right now, they could just buy their time. They'll be stupid to respond because you've literally broken your back to facilitate them. So there's no time limit. You've got an FTC hearing in August. What have you done? No way are they going to sit down, because right now there's a good chance regulators will combat this, and this might possibly fall away because there's no skin off Sony's nose. Microsoft are paying up to $2 billion just to litigate as this time goes on. So it's stupid. If you're Microsoft, put a time limit and say this is your aggressiveness. This is a table offer now. 10 years. We let you put it on PlayStation Plus. Every argument that you have raised, we have now tackled that point. And you still haven't sat in. So we're going to put a time limit here. If you do not accept it, you will have proven to the world and all the regulators who have witnessed it that in the months that we've been negotiating, you didn't sit down there. Your intention isn't this deal, and all the concerns you addressed, that deal goes away. We're litigating against the FTC anyway. They're suing us. We're going to deal with that and say goodbye to your 10-year deal. Now let's see what happens. And Microsoft has more than enough ammo in an industry where PlayStation has a legacy, where it has timed exclusivity, all the stuff we've said before, why this deal should go through. Call of Duty is not the end of the world, blah, blah, blah. Sony is money hatting, is consolidating as well. Microsoft is too soft. Microsoft is way too soft. I get the pun. It's intended. Phil Spencer and co. Fight back. Stop being... No, Phil, by the way, now it's got to litigation. Pass it to the lawyers. Now it's not your job to I know it's going to be hard to pull away from it, but just focus on your games, because the Game Awards were an embarrassment. So I don't know. There's a lot there. There
is a lot, because what you're talking about, Gaz, is, and I flipped your camera so it says pony now properly.
Oh, thank you. I was trying to figure out how to do that.
You don't have to worry about it. It's just my job. I have to run my show properly. What you're talking about is, I think Xbox is sitting there thinking, look, we'll just sacrifice the lamb. We'll sacrifice Call of Duty and any exclusive from Blizzard and Activision just to get, like Mag said, to get King to the table. And this in the middle of a situation where they have not proven the games thing, and we are definitely going to get into that today, guys. Let me read a couple supers here. From Red Wolf says, he says, OMG, did you hear the news? Apparently Starfield is coming to PlayStation. So much reaching this week on Twitter. Hilarity at its finest. And yeah, it is. There is this, it's because Xbox hasn't had a bunch of exclusives ever in their whole entire career. I don't know what you call it. Their whole platform career of 20 plus years. They haven't had any exclusives other than a few here and there and a bunch of money added things they did during the 360 and the beginning of the Xbox One, right? So that situation, it is a shock, Mag. It is a shock to the media and journalists who aren't keyed in. Like Christopher Dring, I don't have a problem with the guy, and I'm not even mad at him. He actually got rightfully destroyed today by lots and lots of people. He got ratioed many times. And I was nice to him. I tried to be respectful. Gaz said that I crapped on his Cheerios or whatever the saying is, his cornflakes. But people, they really are. They're like, what? Xbox have exclusives? This is a new concept. Percolator, thank you so much for the $10. He says, hello, Colt Gaz, the great mag. I remember the days where you're just playing games, not fighting what system is better or game is better. I am enjoying the show so far. Keep it up, Colt. Happy birthday, Pony Gaz. And then I'll ask Gaz to sing Kumbaya for me with the reverb.
Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. Paris Lily's in the chat, so that was good timing for that.
Yeah, Paris had a really good on his podcast yesterday. He put up a clip of how he said that Xbox had no right to sit out at the Game Awards. He was there. And he said that they were like kind of, where's the Xbox game? And I said, hey, why didn't they just show a little bit of Redfall and then just drop the date? We're going to get into that because that's a whole thing. Drawn TJ, thank you so much for a massive $50 super chat. It's all pink and blazing. Thank you so much. He says, oh yeah, this is going to be fire. Gaz, Colt, and Mag, I'm going to die laughing. I think it's good if Microsoft puts Call of Duty on PlayStation Plus because it's free advertising for Xbox. Xbox games will be funded by PlayStation fanboys. Laugh out loud. I mean, I don't know why they would agree, Mag. I'm going to ask you this. Why they would agree to put Call of Duty on PlayStation Plus because they don't want it on their subscription service. They want to sell it for $70 and make that margin. And the microtransactions are going to Xbox. So what do you think about that?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they make billions of dollars off the microtransactions, right? And if you start building that games as a service and it keeps growing and growing and growing, like your Warzone, all right, already a huge moneymaker in itself, even though that's on the free-to-play department, right? That's not even the game itself. Then you get the actual game itself, okay, with the multiplayer and, of course, the campaign. Sure, put it on let's just say for argument's sake, you did put on a subscription, right? Obviously, they're going to agree to some kind of a sum, all right? So Microsoft's going to make a lot of that development money back right then and there. Right, just from that alone. Then the billions of dollars of microtransactions across Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and then, of course, if they decide to do some lesser version on the Nintendo or whatever, on the Switch or whatever next-gen console that Nintendo's working on at some point, right? If we're talking like 10 years down the road, the Switch is not going to be here in 10 years. So there's going to be a better console. See, that's another thing. That's a really short-sighted thing that the Sony reps said the other day. They were talking about, besides the fact that they basically said the Nintendo Switch was for children, which made me laugh because I agreed wholeheartedly. Myself and Randall Thor were guffawing in the background. But anyways, that's besides the point because we love poking the Nintendo guys a lot. Anyhow, here's the thing.
Because they can't fight back because they're not old enough.
Well, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
You could just hold their head, right? And they're just running at you like this. So anyhow, anyways, in all seriousness, here's the thing, is that everybody keeps thinking that it's going to be the Switch. They're like, oh, you can't play Call of Duty on the Switch. I'm like, the Switch has been out for like oh god, almost a decade, for crying out loud.
It's been out 5 years. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, 5+ years. Let's say if it's around for another 3 years. They made a tentative 10-year contract, let's just say, with Nintendo, right? That could possibly mean that the last 6 years of that contract is an entirely new, more powerful console, which will be able to house your Warzone 2 or whatever the hell else they got going on, right? Or else the main game itself, maybe dumb down the game a little bit, keep it at 60 FPS. But we were playing 60 FPS COD on the 360 for crying out loud, right? So they could do that for some new gen Nintendo. The point is, getting back to the actual point, is that if you put the game on PlayStation Plus, I don't think it'll be any skin off their back from doing that. I think they're going to make their billions of doing it. I think it's going to be just fine. And then the people that are going to buy the game are still going to buy the game. How many people do you know, and I know a lot of them in this community of ours, that are going to be buying Starfield, even though Starfield is coming to Game Pass, for crying out loud.
Sure.
And they're all like, well, I'm buying it because I buy all of the Bethesda games or this and that, and I love Todd Howard games and I like to own them and this and that. There's still going to be a lot of people purchasing those games. So the people, and then a lot of people that are not in the know or don't want to pay the subscription service. Okay, let's just say they're only playing Call of Duty. I know a lot of people, especially a lot of these the fraudulent fathers that are around me for the kids at school. Like they only play. Well, of course we're in Canada, right? So they're only playing NHL and Call of Duty. So if that's the case, why not just buy those 2 games for the whole bloody year? Because guess what? In 2023, or 2024, what are they going to buy? NHL 25 and the new Call of Duty, and that's it. They have no desire to be part of that subscription service because they're not going to utilize it. So those people will still purchase the game. So Microsoft is still going to make their 30% off the $70 sales. They're still going to make the microtransaction, all the money from all the monies in the world and the microtransactions from all 4 avenues that are going to be housing Call of Duty, okay? And why the hell not? And then, of course, they're going to get a lump sum from PlayStation for having the game on the subscription service. Win, 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 and win. Thank you very much. That's all you got to do. So I say go for it. Let them have it.
Gaz, why isn't PlayStation coming to the table? Because the news was that Steam and Nintendo came to agreement and they're ready to sign this thing, but PlayStation's nowhere to be found. Like, what did they stand to lose?
Well, they have everything to gain and nothing to lose. Because ultimately they don't want the deal to go through because they're so devastating to them that someone in this space could control Call of Duty and the revenue that generates. But what do they have to lose? They literally sat back. Microsoft is losing millions upon millions, soon to be billions on this deal, just waiting and biding time for the case. So there are no time limits to Microsoft's offer. Why would they play it? They're having the cake, eating it. There's Jim Ryan getting massages 24/7, not saying anything, buying his time. Microsoft keeps opening his legs up longer, deeper and deeper. There it is. Here you go. 10 years.
That image I'm getting.
PlayStation Plus. I don't know what are you imagining. But
all the right things.
Yeah, they're doing all of it, and it's making Microsoft look so weak. And you have Brad Smith come back and say, "Well, we thought we'll give peace a chance." Well, right, okay.
I mean, he was being a little vitriol when he said that, right? Well, he's not kumbaya. He's like, "Look, we tried to play nice, and now we're going to start cracking knuckles."
And what's that? What's that? What are they doing?
Well, actually, I want to get into that regarding the Video Game Awards because it actually ties into the end of our conversation for the Video Game Awards. Let me read a couple more chats here. AK Havoc says, at this point, Microsoft's showing they have no backbone. I want to talk about, Maggie, guys, I want to talk about how Xbox didn't show anything because of the FTC lawsuit in a minute, but I want to cover quickly what happened to the Video Game Awards. We'll get into that in a second. Super Bottle, thank you for the super, says, Xbox should make all Activision and Bethesda games available on PlayStation and have a Game Pass commercial on the games at startup. I mean, you don't spend billions and billions of dollars to give PlayStation every single game they could ever get. Right now, they're getting Final Fantasy retro games, and there's like no mention of Xbox. Red Wolf, thank you so much for the chat. He says, can we get a donation goal to have Mag as a permanent third co-host? Rally everyone. This is an amazing trio. Show some support. I mean, I had to look. I'm like, oh crap. When did I really want? I just had this feeling. I want to have Mag on.
Good idea.
I want to have Mag on this show on this coming Monday, and I just went straight and just DM'd you, and I'm like, wait, when did I ask him last? I think it was like September. I'm like, I don't care. I want to have Mag on, so I appreciate you being here, bro.
Of course.
Let's see. We got Selfish Burrito says, let us compete. And then Red Wolf just sends 99 cents with the drooling emoji because he's feeling the fire. Let's talk about the Game Awards quickly because there's some stuff to celebrate. I just have some.
Fan? There's for me.
I love it how Miles Dampierre said, Miles says, I was at the theater, and you could just tell the energy when they announced the PlayStation game. Like, everyone just lit up. And then they announced Party Animals for Xbox, and then Phil goes, oh, gosh. Like Sarah Bond handed him like a Sour Patch Kid or something. Let's talk about, Gaz, tell us about Returnal on PC, and then Death Stranding 2. Like, what are your thoughts when you saw... what are your thoughts on those few games?
Well, Returnal 2, The Last of Us 1 remake is now confirmed as a date on PC. The Last of Us 1 remake, they said that there will at least be a year's gap between games appearing on PC.
And what's it been? 6 months?
A few months. Yeah.
Well, I don't know when the release is, but
March. Oh, right. So it's less than 6 months. This is less than a year. So
late.
Yeah, but that's different. Either way, look, it didn't surprise me. Returnal was a great game. Please don't sleep on it. It's not for everyone if you don't like roguelites, but it's one of my favorites of this generation. I love that game. But yeah, so those have come out. I mean, it's not really a big thing against in the console war space. This is additional tick, more evidence of PlayStation really branching out on the PC space. But it's still those two titles. I mean, The Last of Us 1 remake, which we didn't even think it's needed, and Returnal aren't going to set anything on fire. We were going to see some other games that will appear. So yeah, I mean there's a lot to talk about. But yeah, I mean,
it's not big news. PlayStation games coming to PC at this point. Everyone's like, when you see it, you're like, oh yeah. I mean, duh. But what about them showing pretty much what looked like a completed product of Death Stranding 2? Let me ask Mag. I don't know. I know how Gaz feels about Death Stranding, but Mag, tell me about Death Stranding 2.
Listen, I can appreciate the game for what it is. It's not for me per se. I gave it a try. It didn't really do anything for me. However, there's always something interesting when a new Kojima game comes out, right? There's always a little bit of something in the air of like intrigue or interest. You're just like, all right, what does this guy got up his sleeve now? Now the thing is, the man is not dumb. He may be eccentric, he may be a little bit weird, and his stories are insane, but he still knows what he's doing, and he still has interesting ideas. So I have a feeling that this sequel, he listened to the people, and I still think that whatever that's going to go on in the sequel, it's not going to be a continuation of the last game of you running around with 18 boxes on your head, or doing a Cirque du Soleil.
I mean, you might, but he might fix that pacing. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
there's something different. It felt different. There's something different about that trailer that I'm like, you know what? This isn't going to be the same game. I have a feeling this is going to be more of an action-adventure game, and it's going to branch off from what the original game was. I think the original game was a concept. It was an idea. It was interesting. Like I said, wasn't for me, but I'm not going to smack talk it. But it is what it is. I have this distinct feeling that this second game is going to be more action-adventure-like, and I think it's going to be more... Hit. I think it'll be a bigger hit. I think it'll be better paced, just like you're saying, Colt. I think it'll be better paced. I think it'll be more like a PlayStation exclusive. I think it'll be more of that third person over the shoulder, what everybody else says about PlayStation games. I think it's going to be more that style, and I think it's going to pick up the pace a little bit because I have a feeling like the first one was almost like I know it sounds crazy, but it sounded like it felt like a meditative experience.
It was sometimes. Like it was, I enjoyed that part of it in the beginning. Yeah.
It was very it was interesting, like his idea and the thought of it. It was very Elon Musk-ish of like, coming up with these global ideas. Like he'll just come out one day and be like, I'm solving world hunger.
And one of your quests is to go from 300 characters to 4,000 on Twitter. Yeah, it's amazing.
You know what I mean? Like those kind of wacky ideas. But it's that sort of like meditative, like this global conscious experience. And I'm like, okay, we get it, we got it, we understood. Now give us something exciting. People are going to really want to play. That's what I have a feeling is going to happen.
I agree with you, Mag. I do think I like that first 3 hours, and I think that it's going to provide something where I'm like, okay, because there's been games where the first one's pretty good, and then number 2 is when they get it all together. I said earlier it looked like a completed product, and someone was like, completed product? This game's not ready. Well, they sure showed more of a complete product than Xbox ever has in a long time.
That is a surprising thing, actually. The most surprising part of that show was that trailer because I was not expecting, first of all, that game to be as polished or as finished as it was. I think because you remember he made the Xbox announcement in the summer where he's like, oh yeah, we got this game coming for Xbox. I haven't even started it yet, or whatever the heck he said, right?
His mobile E for everyone pay to win card game he's making for Xbox.
Yeah. You mean DC,
I'm just kidding,
DC
chat.
Snap? Yeah, he's doing DC Snap, not Marvel Snap. That's what's coming up.
I'm just going by Murphy's Law.
existential-
I'm sorry, Meg. Yeah, I'm just going by Murphy's Law. Like Death Stranding 2 is going to be like the pinnacle of his recent gaming production, and then he makes Party Animals 3 for Xbox. That's kind of my joke.
I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be experimental. It's gonna look like 3 sprites on screen, but it makes you think about your place in the universe.
There you go.
Right.
And it's going to be stuffed, and it's going to be those little stuffed furry animals inside of fetuses walking around. They're going to be carrying those around. Yeah, like little Build-A-Bears inside of eggs, and you have to carry them around with 19 boxes on your back.
As long as it has a slightly mature tone, I'm liking your pitch. Let me shift gears, Gaz. I gotta ask you,
and then figure out what is coming up next, because I'm pretty sure that's where he gets his ideas.
I figured it was Guillermo del Toro in a bunny suit, but anyways, that's me.
He's hopping through the landscape. Hey, if you're here watching the show, hit the like button if you're having a good time. I mean, we're just getting rolling in, and if you had a chance to see the thumbnail. Now, I'm a graphic designer and I'm an artist, and I usually like to create as much as I can. But today's thumbnail was built off of 2 Mid-Journey AI created images that I built based off of what I dreamt up with the word combinations. And oh man, Gaz and I have been having a great
did
time.
Everything.
It's amazing. All I did was add I cut out a Starfield ship and added a couple things, and I blended them together and kind of made this. We are in for great things. Matt Booty even talked about that there's going to be AI doing game testing, taking over a lot of the heavy work that is not creative, and then there is creative stuff. But
goodbye, humans and your jobs. You'll be replaced.
And then as soon as they're done, yep,
robots just coming in, just hit the hammer fisting us over the head. Boom.
That's it.
Gaz, I gotta ask you about. This game is right up here.
Phil Spencer's going to be replaced by AI, by a real bot.
It's like a T1-800. It's like
I was going to say,
Spencer's job is over. Hey, Gaz, I gotta ask you.
His arm. Yeah.
I gotta ask you about Crime Boss. I gotta hear your. Remember that Crime Boss game, the first-person GTA with Danny Trejo and oh my gosh, I forgot all these celebrities. Do you remember this trailer?
Yeah, man.
Mag, do you remember?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Gaz. You go first. I'll bat cleanup.
No, I mean, what can you say? This game, I don't know if you probably felt the same way, Mag. It kind of hit those old school feels with the first person. Doesn't take itself too seriously, but looks fun. It just the actors are there, but I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what else to say other than that. It looks nice. It looks fun. It looks like old school.
All right, I'm gonna.
Go ahead, Meg.
Sorry, go. No. Say it before you lose.
No,
your
I'm just noticing that it doesn't follow some of the trends we've seen lately with games, with like reboots and modern. I don't want to get social political, but Meg, tell me what you think about it.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm cautiously optimistic about it. Now here's the thing. I'm always weary about a game being announced three months before. Like I didn't even know this thing existed, and all of a sudden it's coming out in 3 months. That usually doesn't bode well. Like if history proves anything, it shows that any game that, you know what I'm saying? Like any game that's like coming out next week, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, where the hell was it? Where were the articles? Where were the behind the scenes? Where were those IGN? What is it? We played this, and those little
First
articles.
10 minutes.
Yeah. The first 10 minutes, and then like we played 5 hours of this. Here, here you can find out what we thought about it or whatever. There was none of that. With these big time actors in there, the big time names and all that talent that you got going in there, it's a little shocking that they got all those people into one game. I don't know how the hell they did that. Did they hold their families for ransom? That's the only thing I can think of. But the thing is,
they just mocapped them on a Zoom call.
Yeah. But like I don't understand. Like where was this game before? And that's where it makes me a little bit. I pump the brakes on it because I'm like, let me wait till it comes out. I'm praying to God that the game actually ends up being good because it seems like the kind of game that we haven't had in probably 15 years.
And it looked a little too shiny, didn't it? Like all pre-rendered, not in engine. What, Mag? Do you remember that APB, Grand Theft Auto, online
God,
only, like
APB. I
yes, do you remember that?
I waited for ages.
So like, let's not like. I don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like I for example, I've been waiting over a year because I saw the trailers for Forspoken, and I was like, yes, it looks great. I can't wait to play this. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, fine. It's gonna go to PlayStation first. I'll play it on PlayStation. What the hell's the difference to me? I played the demo and it sucked. Right? So I mean, at least I thought so, and so a whole lot of people agree with me. I did not like it. So I'm not going to get myself hyped up for that game because it's only, first of all, it's coming out in 3 months. Okay, so 3.5 months or whatever.
Yeah,
I'll wait till it comes out. Let's see what's going on. But to me, I don't want to be a party pooper, but to me, it kind of comes across as like a AA sort of game that I could definitely see dropping in. I hate to say this because I don't want there to be a negative.
You know
comment.
what else coming? It's coming.
Play the music when he says it.
It seems like the kind of game that's going to drop into Game Pass.
Game Pass fodder. Yeah.
I apologize, but come on, man. Look at the history. Look at the it kind of comes across. What the hell was that 4-player zombie third-person game?
Zombie third-person game.
Oh, World War Z. It's like a World War Z. It's fun.
Gosh.
It's fun for 4 days.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember when it came out.
Yeah.
Dealer came out. Dealer played it for a couple days. He thought it was fun. He played with some people in the community. Had a good time. Dealer gaming, and he was at a good time. Blah 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 blah, and whatever else. Sorry, I always tell. The last time I did a show with him, I'm like, you're like the Elvis of YouTube, but I got to give respect to Dealer.
He's like Elvis mixed with Hank Hill when he talks. Yeah, I love Dealer.
I'm Dealer Gaming, and I do propane and propane.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Dealer Gaming. Thank you very much.
I hope he's listening. Fonz, I see you in the chat. How's it going, bud? And Charlie Hustle, I see you in the chat there. And Perk. Anyways, so yeah, it seems like the kind of game that you could play for like 2 or 3 days, maybe 4 days, kind of burn through it in like 8 hours and be like, all right, 505 Studios, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I mean, you actually clocked it pretty good, Mag. I'll give you that one. Yeah, I'll give you that.
They're about. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're good. They're just sort of in the middle. You know, they're kind of there, but it's got that World War Z kind of vibe.
Yeah. This porridge is just right. Hey, Mandingo sends a Canadian 99 cent as well. I didn't mention that. I didn't see that one in time, but let's see. We got Macbound, my good buddy, says Final Fantasy 1 through 5 not coming to Xbox is just another reason why I'm done with Square for good. And he drove all the way to Square. He sent me video footage of him driving to Square Enix, crapping in a paper bag, lighting it on fire, and put it on their front step, and then he peeled out in his truck.
I was going to do that too, actually.
AK Havoc says, if Xbox end up in court and win, do they still have to hold up concessions if Sony does not accept any of them prior to going to court? Gaz, that's a question for you, bro.
It's a very good question. It depends. No. It's a good question, but the case will be determinative and with the conditions. I imagine that's how it's going to go. So you have the FTC saying it's anti-compete Microsoft, because otherwise you're going to stall again because they'll come back to courts on the finer details. So the concessions need to be laid out. The court will make a determination on what is permissible. So the frame, once the judgment is handed over, you'll know what's going to be the case and what Microsoft need to do to pass this acquisition through. Can't have it. Okay, the FTC is wrong. Go back. Microsoft then suggests more terms. It goes back. No, it will be. This is what needs to be done. The judgment will confirm. Okay, we'll either permit this. If we were going to disallow it, then it's dead. Or and then you appeal it. Or if you succeed and say Microsoft does have a case, but it needs to do X, X, and X, Microsoft will then need to make a decision on whether or not that is acceptable to them, whatever the conditions are.
What a mess. I got to ask you guys about the supposed lie. Hogue Law said today that the FTC didn't lie, but Microsoft didn't lie either. So implying that the FTC doesn't know what they were trying to, the basis of taking them to court. So where's that sitting in your opinion?
Again, remember when Bethesda's games in exclusivity was a massive question mark because Microsoft was giving a bit mixed messaging, and then Phil Spencer comes on, and that happened to be the first ever source video I ever made was on this topic when Bethesda announced that, or Microsoft confirmed that Bethesda's games will appear on platforms where Game Pass exists. The good old Fonzarelli.
This
His little soundbite.
Little soundbite. And that's what happened. And there was a massive. So Microsoft did definitely confuse everyone, made that statement, and that's what it's alluding to. That they've been a bit judicious with the truth, or not been completely upfront, and maybe regulators beforehand didn't consider the exclusivity of ZeniMax titles, which I maintain should have always been Xbox exclusive. I maintain that not just from a fanboy perspective.
Even the remasters, guys. Even the remasters.
I mean, legacy titles.
Yeah.
And contractual obligations, fine, but everything else, I mean, Starfield is a new IP, fine. Even Elder Scrolls, the next one, make it exclusive. I'm sorry, but what are you doing?
That's how it works.
Yeah, it does. It is how it works. The FTC weren't lying, but they were being a bit judicious with their interpretation of it. But that's because Microsoft weren't very clear when it happened. They talked something else. They said something else, and then they did something else in the end. So they've not been clear, because this is what I'm alluding to before. They try to be very nice and like, oh yeah, with these hollow statements, and they don't follow through with it. And it just comes to bite them in the arse, and that's what's happening with the courts. I don't know how much that will steer anything, though. I question the value of that in court for the FTC and the regulators. I don't think that's a massive point. Like the EC Commission have said that, look, we considered it was fine anyway, but there are other issues beyond that. I think people are maybe focusing on that a bit too much. I don't think the case will hang over this point. I just don't think so. So there's a lot more here. There's a lot more here. And a lot of people, by the way, say that, no, it's going to get done. It's going to happen. No, it's not. The deal is potentially getting cancelled. Absolutely. There are considerations here. Microsoft sitting on this table, what does it do? Is it really worth losing billions on a case that you may, and you get offering all these concessions? Is it really worth it? There's going to be a lot of pressure. 70 billion is not a small amount. Microsoft and the gaming division are feeling the heat tremendously. They're having these conversations quite a lot, and I think a lot of this proves to me that Microsoft were very ill prepared in their handling of this, which is shocking to me.
Yeah, I got to ask you, Mag, because Gaz sets up a really good point. Is this uncharted territory? Because we've watched Xbox try to come into an agreement with Bethesda, now ZeniMax, or now Activision, and then we watched PlayStation bring on Bungie, and Bungie goes, no, we don't want to be exclusive. So is this uncharted territory, and is the reason why we see I don't know.
It's a very I think the trajectory of the future is all going to be about ownership. It's not going to be about exclusivity. And what I mean by that is that all it is in the long run, I have a feeling. I mean, don't discount the thought that a lot of PlayStation games will not just end up on PC. That some of them are going to end up on Xbox as well. And as we're already seeing now, look at the trajectory of what's happened in the last couple of years. You look at something like MLB The Show, which was I know that it was made by some Sony studios, but whatever. But look at it's on Game Pass, for crying out loud. Whoever would, if I told you that 5 years ago, you would have laughed until your head fell off. There's no way you would have believed me that would have happened. Right? Yeah. There's not a chance in the world. But guess what? It did happen. And now you just what you said there about Bungie, all right? Bungie wants to make they've got bought by Sony. They don't want to keep their games exclusive. They want them everywhere. What it ends up being at the end of the day, just like the music industry, Colt, I'm sure you're well aware of it. It's not about who's playing the songs. It's not about whose album it's on. It's about who owns the damn songs. Right? It's the exact same thing when it comes to these games. You could put Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, you could put Diablo 4 or Diablo, as Jez Corden calls it. I can't stand it when he says Diablo. It drives me nuts. Yeah. Anyways, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it drives me nuts. And anyways, besides all that, I'm just joking around. Of course, Jazz, I love you. Anyhow, here's the thing. You get all these other games, the Diablos and all the other games, whatever, they go to everywhere. That's fine. Go everywhere. And then all of a sudden, Bungie puts their games in. Sony's making, 10 different games as a service going on at the same time? You think those are only going to be available on the PlayStation? Heck no. They're going to be available on PC. They're probably at some point going to be available on Nintendo, especially for the free-to-play. And they're most certainly going to end up on the Xbox ecosystem as well. So what I'm seeing here, again, it's not about exclusivity. This is something that we're going to have to drop. Okay, it's just like when 25 years ago or 20 years ago when everybody was kind of laughing about Netflix and whatever else and whatever was coming up. They're going, why would I do that? I just go to Blockbuster and rent my movie. Well, look at what's happened now. Fast forward now. Is anybody renting movies from Blockbuster anymore? No. The trajectory was changed. The industry is changing as well. You're going to find that it's actually going to be, yes, they're going to bicker and moan and all this other kind of stuff, whatever, because Sony... Okay, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it about the I've been saying about the Japanese for a long time. If they had their way, they'd be charging us $100, and we'd still be using cartridges. Okay, they would do that because they don't like the change. They don't want the change. Well, that's also very true. Yeah, try updating a cartridge though. Jeez. Anyways, in all seriousness, the thing is, at the end of the day, they're being basically being kicked. Who said it, by the way, the other day about Sony, saying that Sony's basically acting like Blockbuster went during the rise of Netflix? Someone from Microsoft said that, did they not? I think was it Brad Smith? Might have been Brad Smith. But anyways, the point is that that's the trajectory's going. It's going to be all about ownership, not about exclusivity of where to play. It's going to be available to play everywhere. At some point, it's about who owns it. That's where the money's going to be made. Because the subscription alone is not going to be enough to sustain their businesses going forward. It's all about who owns them and then the rights of those games going forward. That's what I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right, because it really is about the changing industry. And I think it's even hard for us as a community to understand where everything's supposed to land. And sure enough, the regulators have no idea how things worked before or how they work now. So that's the whole problem that we're dealing with. Let's see, we got a couple of supers before we move on. We have one more game to talk about for VGAs, then we'll talk about how Xbox crapped the bed, as it were. Agent Shadowwolf said, funny how PlayStation fanboys said for years Xbox has no games and Microsoft needs more studios for exclusives. Microsoft fixed those issues and fanboys still complain, saying it's not fair that games are not on PlayStation anymore. And that's part of what my tweet was that I talked about this morning, or the beginning of the show. Yeah, I mean... They just don't have any freaking games right now. They have 23 studios, and they have literally nothing except for Halo, Gears, and Forza, and that stuff's not going to arrive. I actually got some really great insight talking to Randall Thor last night about Bethesda and ZeniMax. I'm like, dude, they only put out like 2, maybe 3 games a generation. He goes, no, they don't. They put out like 8. I go, what are you smoking 8 games? And he lists off Arcane. They usually make 1 or 2 games. id, Bethesda Softworks, ZeniMax. It was pretty crazy. They'll put out like, there's a lot of games coming, but holy smokes, where are they? Johnny Sins with the Canadian $2.79 says, should Xbox replace Phil Spencer for someone else?
No, don't be ridiculous.
No, Phil just needs this. I think, you remember, like, Mag will love this. The Russian's cut. He's cut. The Russian's cut. Like, I'm waiting for Phil to feel like I'm cut. You know, I'm ready to, like, when Rocky cuts the Russian, he's like in there and he just starts, he gets pissed. And Phil needs to actually quit smiling and get cracking skulls.
Hold on a second. He's almost there. Sorry, guys, go ahead.
What?
Okay, here's the thing. He's almost there. What did he say the other day?
About smaller.
First of all, Phil, if you're listening to this, good old Phil Spencer, it goes to show no matter what you do, despite saving the brand, we will still give you marks. You did all of that. He's probably thinking in his head, these I literally saved the brand. I saved Xbox, and now these little are crying about the games because I wasn't there at the Game Awards. I need to lose my job. You pieces of have you not seen how stressed I look? I was sitting next to Sarah Bond, and I still was stressed. And look, Ryan McCaffrey, this guy, he has sat in the room. Phil, I would never be this rude. Maybe, actually, I don't know. But look at this. Phil, Ryan McCaffrey, you give these guys the interviews at IGN, yeah, but look at what happened. You give all that money to the Democrats. That didn't work either with the FTC. Look what Ryan McCaffrey says. He goes, if we take a look back at Phil Spencer's era of Xbox, which is finishing up in the 9th year at this point, I honestly think he deserves an A+ across the board. But from the perspective of major exclusives Xbox has shipped in those 9 years, Spencer gets a D, and he's dangerously loose to flunking at this point. Phil, I know you're a human being. It's not nice for you to hear those words, but they're saying it. I'm saying it. Everyone is saying it. Even bloody Colt Eastwood is saying it. Fix your Come on, please. All it is, the one metric that matters in this space is exclusivity. I don't get it. No one cares about your kumbaya. We're going to open the barriers and the whole new world is going to play Call of Duty and everything in all our games. No, deliver your exclusives. Fix the quality. You need to have the fire. Like James Allard said, the father of Xbox, I want Ken Kutaraga's resignation left on my desk. That's the anger you need to have against Sony, who doesn't give a doesn't give a fuck.
Guess is going to have an aneurysm.
Get some fire in your ass, for God's sake. You're a laughing stock of the whole space. Did you know what he said? He said this week, Sony wants to grow by making Xbox smaller. How about you're a $1 trillion company? Fire back.
I want Phil to grab his shirt and go and just
everyone wants that. Everyone made fun of the Source. Everyone said it's bullshit. Look at it now. You're seeing it. There's no fiery resolve in any competitive drive. You went straight for ABK. Well, you did that. That was your decision. Your legal team completely flaccid. Now you're here in court. You're offered every concession under the sun. Where are your games? Where are your games? I've got Xbox fans making excuses. Oh, no, it's because of the FTC. They couldn't even show any games, including the games they've already announced. I didn't mean to do that. I'm losing my mind. Bro.
Mag, is Gaz going to be okay?
I don't think I'm gonna be okay.
I never thought that I would have to be the voice of reason here tonight.
Okay, yeah. Let's hear the other side of it from Mag.
There are so many sides to this. First of all, Gaz, you're all right. Take a breath. It's all good. It's all good.
Here comes the
people in the
control
chat
from Mag.
People in the chat are a little bit concerned. They want to make sure that you're okay. All right. Anyways, by the way, I saw what you said in there. Whatever your name is, said I had a bad take. It's not a bad take. Sorry it was my bad take about ownership. Yeah.
Go, Mag. Do it.
Here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not going to try and top what Gaz already did, okay? I'm just going to say my little piece here. Yeah, there is a possibility that there might have been even just a smidge of just like, you know what, maybe we should just lay a little bit low. The less eyes on us, the better. There is a possibility of that, okay? I know that a lot of people disagree with that, and yet you're probably right, okay? I'm just saying it's a possibility. The other possibility is, here's a double-edged sword, okay? Triple-edged, quadruple-edged sword. Here's the thing. You go, well, let's show Senua's Saga. You've showed it 4 times, 5 times, and then you showed the thing about the documentary with the guy with the beard and the hair, and he's like, well, we went to Iceland and we filmed, Seal.
Iceland. And there was a lot of rocks, and there were some black rocks there, and a lot of trees were uprooted, and a lot of trees too.
It's true, and it's like they had the guy that's like, yeah, we went to Iceland, we did this, we ate seal blubber, and we filmed a couple things. I'm like, nobody cares. Show me Senua throwing a spear, for Christ's sake. Anyways, there's that. But here's the thing: you show it again. What are people gonna say? I don't know. I just that's horrifying. I mean, maybe they made lamps out of it. I don't know. Hey, man, it could be delicious for all you know. I'm gonna look into it tomorrow.
It sounds really good. Yeah.
It might be. Maybe you could use it for deep fryer fat. Anyways, here's the thing.
Don't you dare! Someone is saying I'm the. Are you taking the piss? The crap gamer. Do not put me in the same sentence as that guy. I'm an actual content creator. I actually produce quality, and I take time.
Holy crap! You know what? It's trending.
Yeah, he sucks. The guy is
trending in the. It's trending in the chat. Says Gas is the new crap gamer. I've seen it like 5 times.
I went off. Hey, okay. Let me take the show for just. I'll try and keep it to 1 minute. I went off on Fonz's show yesterday. I went off about how they are obligated to show us proof of life of these games. Perfect Dark. I don't know what it looks like. Avowed. I don't know what it looks like. Fable. I don't know what it looks like. Compulsion's game. I don't know what it looks like. I could keep going on and on. And Paris and I were talking about this today. They should have shown Redfall and given us a release date. And if they were planning on putting this, we'll talk about the XO 23 thing in a little bit here. If they're planning on an event in January, I'm almost out of time. They dang well better have announced that event to Damage Control after that VGAs. You know what happened, guys? After that event, Xbox PR, Xbox marketing, Xbox executives saw the outrage from fans and non-fans that Xbox laid there like a slug in the snow, right? Aaron Greenberg I love Aaron Greenberg. Aaron Greenberg from his holiday in Europe, because he's off. Microsoft and Xbox they're not here. No, nothing to see here. We're not here. We're on holiday vacation. They are gone. They're like in the Poconos. They're just, he tweets from wherever he is in Fiji or whatever. Oh, we have more to show soon. I'm like, no, I work in PR. Your message should have been, we're so sorry. Or no, you don't say sorry, but your message should have been, I'm out of time. We have an event that we are going to share more with you really soon. It's the beginning of 2023, and just leave it at that. Like, you left us hanging in the breeze. Well, they have no excuse.
Colt, to piggyback off that and what Gaz Gamer was saying. Sorry, that's the new name now. So, Gaz Gamer, and yeah.
No.
I mean, maybe Aaron Greenberg was in Iceland eating whale blubber or whatever the hell he was doing. God knows what he was doing. Anyways, the thing is, yes, that's what I was trying to get at before I was rudely interrupted by the chat talking about Crab Gamer. I'm just kidding. Anyways, Nukem, by the way, hi, and the guy says hi to Colt and Gaz, and I'm like, what am I? I did a show for 2 years. Anyways, in all seriousness, here's the thing. Getting back to the thing. Yes, there's a possibility, like I said, they might have been laying a little bit low, or they didn't want to show the same things like for the fourth, fifth time.
Sure.
But
sure.
Colt brings up the good point. We actually haven't seen the proper gameplay of Avowed or Perfect Dark or anything like that. They could have shown something like that. Or if you wanted to get more Hollywood, because that's what the Game Awards is all about, you got Al Pacino up there. He doesn't even know where he is. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't even play video games. All right, I'm just here.
For all we know, Al Pacino saw the whole lineup of Xbox games in his mind and didn't share with us.
Exactly. He's like, they offered me 2 tins of caviar. Anyways,
and some seal blubber.
Yeah, and some seal blubber. So that's the thing. So like they had all these things. You want to go Hollywood? Why don't you show us Indiana Jones? The trailer for the movie came out 3 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Disney drops the trailer 3 weeks ago, gets millions and millions and millions of views. All right, some people loving it, some people aren't, but it doesn't matter. It's in the news.
It's big.
Why not drop? It's big. Why not drop the Indiana Jones trailer? Get some hype going. Get something going. I don't know, and you know what I'm saying?
I gotta say this.
Litmus test of the room. Feel the room. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm trying to dial it back because I basically derailed Fonz's show. We had a great show, but I wouldn't stop talking. I think that Matt Booty should be talking to the studios and say, look, I want 1 minute of gameplay. You find something you're super confident with, and I need that for this next showcase event that we're having next month. And I know people are like, Colt, you can't force them. You'll hurt their fingers, And now your back's going to hurt because you pulled landscaping duty, right?
That's right.
Now, I feel like I've talked to Matt Booty, and I feel like Matt Booty's the type of guy gosh dang it, get it done. Like Lieutenant Dan. There's another movie reference. I feel like Matt's like, hey, let's get some gameplay. And then if Obsidian's like, look, we have Avowed stuff ready, but up to a minute, it's not bulletproof. Then I'd say, okay, option 2, a flyover of your world in engine in real time. I need a render of that for the event. And if they say we can't do that, say,
these people
make
are
it happen.
starving out here. Give them
Make
something. We're like Oliver Twist. More, please, sir.
Holy crap! I forgot about Fable. Someone in the chat just mentioned Fable. I'm like, I forgot about Fable. When was that originally announced? 3 years, 4 years?
2018. That game's been in development, by the way.
Yeah, it was announced in 2020. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is they should be putting pressure on the studios to get just a little bit of something. I know people get mad at me and say you can't force them to show stuff that's not ready because they're all super gun shy because of what happened to Halo Infinite and even Cyberpunk. And I don't blame them for being gun shy, but you put pressure on them. Like, look, you say, give me a minute of gameplay. And they're like, well, we can give you 30 seconds of amazing gameplay. It's like, great. It'll be part of a great show. And I think you can do that. And if you push to get 15 studios to show something and you only get 8, you still got a great show. Give me the footage. In 1 working day, I'll get the show done for you and edited for $200.
How about this for $200? How about this, Colt? Think about the 2019 Game Awards, where they showed the Series X and they showed that very, 45 seconds to a minute of Senua's Saga.
Right.
That was a talking point for almost a whole year.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So you think about that. When Phil came out and he showed that not only blew the doors off that theater, but it blew everybody's minds that up until the November release of the Series X and the PlayStation 5, everybody was talking about that reveal, that move. That's all it took was 2 minutes. And that 2 minutes carried the narrative for an entire year. That is all it takes to shift the momentum. And what's happening right now, this is something I wanted to talk about very quickly, is that it's not about the games. It's not about the services. It's not about the prices. It's not about ABK. It is about the mind share. And right now they have lost. They had the momentum going for about 2 years. And they've lost the mind share because Sony had a great year. They didn't have a great year. It's always going to be like that, guys. Okay,
sure,
let's face it. There's in wrestling, especially 80s wrestling, when they did the slap in the face back and forth, the one guy would hit him and then the clap back, and then they'd stare at each other, and then the one would smack each other again, and they would do it, and the crowd would be going nuts. That is what's going to happen, and it's been happening for decades. It's going to continue happening. Sony's going to have a knockout year, then Microsoft's going to have a knockout year, then Sony's going to have a knockout year.
We've already seen that, Mag.
We've already seen it. We've already seen it, and we're going to see it again and again and again.
2021 was really good for Xbox, all that momentum,
great.
And then they fell over while PlayStation took off with a great year because they didn't have a great 2021. To be honest, PlayStation did.
No, PlayStation did not have a good 2021, and Microsoft won Publisher of the Year. They had great games. They had games that were up for Game of the Year. Several of them, actually.
Like 12 nominations or something.
Yeah, they did a fantastic year, and a lot of PlayStation 5's games PlayStation games got delayed into 2022, and then that gave them a great 2022, and Microsoft a really crappy one. But anyway, the thing is that at the end of the day, they lost the mind share, and when you lose the mind share, you've lost the public. You've lost the attention of the public. And when you do that, that is how you lose the battle, because then people are not talking about you anymore. People are talking about PlayStation. Not in a positive way. Or they're not talking about it at all. But you got to understand, us, the people in the chat, everybody else, Twitter, whatever, we're 15 to 20% of the population. 80% of the population have no idea what the hell we're talking about. Okay? They have no clue of what's going on. All those frauds that I see at school, or I pick up my kid, those guys, they have no idea. You think they know who Phil Spencer is? You think they know what's going on? They don't know any of this stuff. They just know that. What's the popular name? What's the popular brand? Joe Sixpack walks into GameStop. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't sit there walking there going, well, Aaron Greenberg said I got to buy this. They don't know who Aaron Greenberg is.
Aaron Greenberg said to wait real soon. It's no longer the
popularity.
It's no longer the Xbox has no games. It's really become like that was like the insult, right? You put the paper on the back of the person's taped on their back, says Xbox has no games. Everyone kicked them in the butt while they walked down the hallway. Now it's an actual real insult. It's like, where are the games? Like you bought studios. You bought studios in 2018 and 2019. You brought on Bethesda. Where are the games? And I've told this audience many times. Shout out to over 1,000 people here. Thank you so much for being here. Hit the like button if you're having a good time. I know it's tough. We're almost done ranting, but it needs to be said. Where are these games? Why are they seemingly taking so long? So I've told this chat many times. They just finished releasing games for PlayStation and for everybody else. They're in this whole mire where they had to finish that stuff. But they brought on Bethesda, but all Bethesda's done is give PlayStation 2 exclusives and release some remasters that go to everybody. So where are the games? Well, they got delayed one more year. And Jason B in the chat says, PlayStation doesn't have anything for 2023. Yes, they do. Final Fantasy 16, Forspoken. Yeah, okay, that's something I do now. And they have Spider-Man 2. Now, I'll tell you what, PlayStation's going to have a great first part of the year. But I think they have one game for the holiday, and that's Spider-Man 2. But that's going to be one of the biggest selling games of the year. So... yeah. I think what we're going to see, and we'll get into that later, is that Xbox will have a massive first part of the year. And if they flub the second half of the year, I'm going to put a piece of paper on the back of Xbox and kick them around the hallway. Gaz, how are you doing, my friend? You had to be quiet there while Mag was making sure people forgot that your name is Gaz.
I had to regulate my blood pressure. Yeah, I'm okay now.
I've got a couple supers I'm gonna have you respond to if they need it. But Duran TJ says, question, why don't Microsoft put Game Pass Ultimate on PlayStation and Sony puts PlayStation Plus on Xbox to solve this?
What? Don't listen to Drone TJ, Microsoft. It's not going to happen because they're not going to allow that, because that's almost throwing the white. Just put the flag out there, surrender.
It doesn't do anybody any good, right?
Mm-hmm. You can't. Yeah.
There's not much more to say to that. But Johnny Sins, thank you for the super. Says, Mag, want to be in my next movie?
Well, only if it's adult only. That's the only films I do these days.
And the only thing he was wearing was a rubber pony helmet. Parasite 82.
That or I do 80s action.
Parasite 82 Green with the 449-pound super says, Bill Clinton's long-lost son at the Game Awards has more backbone than Xbox at the moment. And he had laughing crying emoji. Says, we need more first-party games, and we need it now. I mean, the bravery of this 16-year-old kid to walk up on that stage in front of 5,000 people and say, hey, Bill Clinton.
That was fantastic, by the way. That was By the way, did anybody see the Elden Ring Bill Clinton mod? Shout out to Percolator 9000 for showing me that. Anyways, the thing is, at the end of the day, think about this. When I do the litmus test in my home, when it comes to mindshare, which I feel is still the most important thing in the entire world, I have 4 Xbox Series consoles in my home, and I have 2 PS5s. Okay. Never mind the Nintendos. That's the kid stuff. Okay.
Christopher Dream's gonna be mad at you for being so rich, by the way. Go ahead.
And I have them in different rooms of the house for different people. So, anyways, the thing is, I have 6 consoles. I haven't played the Xbox console in months. I've been playing only PlayStation. So I'm not like one or the other. I'm like, I just gravitate to where I feel where the experience is, where I feel like playing. And so for the last couple of months, and I caught myself the other day, and I went, and I looked over at my Series X, and I'm like, it's been a while since I don't think I've turned my Series X on since Call of Duty, because I bought Call of Duty for Xbox because that's where all my friends are, right? And I have a monstrous following on Xbox ecosystem, so I could play with those guys. And I realized I haven't turned it on since October, and so I'm like, interesting. Right? And then that's the mindshare thing that I was talking about, is that at least for the time being, that they were drawing me away from the Xbox to go play on the other platform.
You can't make money if people don't have it turned on and ready to buy something, right? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? And so that's what I'm talking about with mindshare. I'm not saying, that's not like some inflammatory thing. Someone in the chat's gonna go nuts and call me a pony or whatever.
Already are.
I know they probably already are. Yeah.
There's Goggle Poe right on key. You are an echo chamber of console warriors. He's constantly damage controlling Xbox. Well,
Johnny Sins, Mag, you never play with me anymore. I don't. You know what? Hit me up this week. I'm going to be playing Call of Duty this week. Anyways, the thing is that if that's happening in my home, then that means that's happening elsewhere too, right? Where people are going to be gravitating to where the experiences are. Yeah, I get it. God of War's out there right now, and everybody's playing. Well, at least they were playing God of War for a time being and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of people who haven't even got that yet. There's a lot of people who are getting that for Christmas. Okay, and whatever else. So that mindshare is going to carry right into 2023, right into Forspoken, which I think was trash. But I mean, that's a whole other thing. So that's where Xbox has got to hit with that big show in January. They got to hit with a big show in January, and they got to take that mindshare and they got to rip it out of Sony's chest, just like Kalima in Temple of Doom. Okay, they have to rip it out like Molaram, and then just pull it out and just put it up in the air like this. That's what has to happen. Okay,
absolutely.
I feel bad for anybody watching that's born after 1990, because we've lost you several times with classic movie references, but hopefully you're keeping
Indiana
up with
Jones
some of those.
comes out soon. So you know what? You better brush up on your Indiana Jones, kids, because guess what? That game's coming to Xbox, and it's going to be hot. I got a feeling about it.
And Machine Games, I hate it when people say this, but I'll say it. Machine Games don't miss. It hit different, wheat and good, and other assorted, new sayings. Memes. Detective Seeds, my bro, you got to check out Detective Seeds' video today. He put up a review of the new Next Generation Witcher 3 on his channel. He does really high quality stuff. He says, I just want to dedicate this super chat to my Reformed Orthodox rabbi, Colteastwood. As we talked about the Bill Clinton thing. Red Wolf says, did you see what Square said about Final Fantasy? No, I don't. Red, will you write it in the chat so I can see? Or if anybody knows, what did they recently say about Final Fantasy other than, we don't like to put it on Xbox. It hurts. I don't know what they said, but I'd love to know. Just read on Bloomberg that Microsoft offered Call of Duty on PlayStation Plus. Says JRPG Enjoyer. Yeah, and we talked about that earlier. We don't know where in the heck that is, and actually some of the experts are scratching their heads as well. Biff Rinaldi, thank you so much for the super. Says, speaking of sequels, geeked for Jedi Survivor. Yes, I was playing Fallen Order this morning. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot how to play this. And Jazz, you looking forward to a little Jedi Survivor next year?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, I saw you shaking your head. No.
I was like, hell yeah. No, as in, that kind of shaking your head.
Yeah. I thought you were doing this. Yes.
No.
Yes, I'm so looking forward to it.
That's the Asian in me because, you're just like, come on, bastard.
Well.
It is fantastic. It is fantastic. Sorry, that was the Pakistani in me.
I love it.
I'm definitely.
I'm most looking forward to Dead Island 2 next year more than anything.
Yes.
Like that. Just Meg, what are you looking forward to in the first part of 2023 the most?
Man.
Like,
wow,
what's the one?
Oh, come on, Colt. One? Are you mad? There's 3 that I can think off the top of my head within a 4-week period. Forspoken has now officially been wiped off the map after I played that demo. I mean, I wish I could find a way to make it tangible and bury it in my yard. Put a little stick in the ground with a note. Anyways, the thing is, Hogwarts Legacy. Come on, man. I'm a monstrous Harry Potter fan. I absolutely adore Harry Potter.
I hope it's
my
fantastic.
Wife and I
it looks cool.
Oh, dude. I'm getting it for both systems because, well, first of all, I know it sounds ridiculous because we live in the same house, but I game share with my wife. And so, because we have separate, never mind. Anyway, the point is that when it comes to the money, we have separate allowances.
Breaking down his checkbook with us. Okay, here's what she bought the other day.
So, exactly. So this is what we do. So, anyways, we're getting Hogwarts Legacy for the Xbox because she wants to play it on the Series X. I'm going to have it on the Series X, but I'm also getting it because my game share partner on PlayStation is getting it as well. So I'm going to get it for I'm going to be playing it for the PlayStation because I understand there's a whole lot of like DualSense 5 features and stuff. So I'm going to play it for both systems. There's that. On the Xbox side of things, I got Dead Space Remake. Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
Dead Space looks hot. Yeah, I mean, it looks fantastic. So it looks great. There's that. So,
I mean, of course, Starfield. Because I think we're going to be seeing Starfield in May.
Okay, but also don't forget Resident Evil 4 remake is coming as well in March. That's a hot one for me. Resident Evil is one of those.
It kind of sucks that we're sitting here going, "Where are the games?" When you have to quit your job and rob a bank to play everything. Let me move forward.
and then Dead Island 2, Dead Island 1, and
did you watch
Dead
the recent
Island
trailer,
Riptide.
Mag, that came out like a week ago?
I loved it, and you know what?
With the girl
Dead
narrating.
Island. Yes, it was fantastic. That and what was the other one that they did? Riptide. I loved them both. I thought.
Yeah, I mean those are campy garbage, but I love them. They're so fun. But this one looks better. Yeah.
This one looks so much better. It looks like they put like the budget of Dying Light into the Dead Island series. Right, so like there's a little bit more, like, you know what I mean? Like they took the budget of Dead Island, of Dying Light, and then stuck it into Dead Island. I'm like, okay, let's do this, and it looks fantastic. That's a huge thing. I'm a big zombie nut. Love zombie. Believe it or not, Days Gone was one of my favorite games of last gen. Dying Light.
Yeah, I loved it.
Dying Light was actually my top 4, I think, of top 4 or top 5 of my games of the entire generation, last generation. So, anyways, those are the games that we got right off the bat. I mean, come on, Dead Island, Dead Space, a lot of dead in there. Hogwarts,
Evil Dead, Dead West, West Dead, West of Wed, West of Dead.
Yeah.
Hey, Gaz, can I convince you to love Dead Island 2 with me this year?
Come on, Gaz, you got to do it.
Are you thinking?
What about Resident Evil?
It looks very good. I'm looking forward to playing that.
I can't wait. We're gonna have so many laughs. Hey, Red Wolf! Shout out to Red Wolf for dropping a Metal Gear Solid 5 code, probably on Xbox. It looks like on the code. But thank you so much for that. That was a big release way back in 2015. I still haven't finished it. I'm like 40 hours in. I'm like, yeah, you got too weird for me. But Ashtray, my good friend Ashtray Gaming, with the Australian $8, which translated to US dollars is $7,029. He said, people disagree with me, but Xbox needs to put PlayStation in the ground for good and move on. Well, I mean, I disagree with Ashtray, but I think if Xbox actually was banging these games out like 4 or 5 per year from their studios that they own, Activision, Bethesda, Xbox Game Studios, it would start to actually put PlayStation and Xbox on an even ground, and this nonsense of Xbox never competing would finally be done. Dead Planet, thank you for the 5, says, if Xbox shows in January a thrown together mess of only what's to come in June, then I'm preemptively here to say that's not nearly good enough. Gaz, your opinion. If they throw together, he says, if they quickly throw together a mess of a show and quickly rush it in for June or for January, and it's only what's coming up until before E3, he's like, I'm here to say, what were the words? That's not nearly good enough. Your opinion?
Well, at this point, we're getting nothing, so we're pretty starved out for anything. So I'd feel stupid for saying,
Father,
no.
Can I have another father?
Please.
Spank me, bum.
Wow, what is going on here?
That was a bit disconcerting. What was that?
Please, Father.
Not
just show me one
said.
trailer, Father. For me, bum, please. Oh, my days.
Why do you sound like Gordon Ramsay?
Gordon Ramsay's a G. Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry.
Look, man. Ultimately, 2022 needs to be the horror years and something that they do not replicate. On paper, there should be a lot of stuff. There should definitely be a lot of stuff. So if they have a show, I don't think I disagree with the super chat. If you have a show that's that conservative, you're kind of like, at the moment, in order to kind of dislodge all the bad, just to reinforce confidence, you need something extra. You need something gameplay for not just Forza, and all the games that are releasing this year. So you got Forza, Starfield, and Redfall. You need something like Hellblade. You need a bit of Avowed. You need something. Whatever the next show is.
How many, because E3 in June is going to be the big showcase. So how many games? 1 or 2? They need to show something
Look,
in
those
January.
games are supposed to come out. So in January, if you have this show in January, at least a couple of games. Perfect Dark, show them a little bit, or Fable, show a little, or Avowed. These are all Hellblade, prime examples of games that you could show off more, and then show a lot more of the games that are about to come out, like Redfall, Starfield, and Forza. You need to show a little bit of what these studios are doing, because right now, the big question mark is, what are these studios working on, and is the quality there? There's a big question mark over the quality. I'm more excited about the Xbox games coming out this generation, yet the deafening silence is what these studios are doing, because that is where the
confidence level
lack of confidence comes from. Mm-hmm. That will shut down so many narratives. That will shut down Colin Moriarty's narrative. That will shut down my narrative, which is aligning a lot with his about what are these studios doing. And then once it's done and you've shown this is what you're not doing, Microsoft. Like you need to be aggressive in showing that. You have more studios than a competition. So it shouldn't be a case of deafening silence. It's completely not a tenable situation if you're aggressively in this space. This is why it hurts, where you sit front seat, Phil Spencer's annoyed, he looks sad. You see Xbox, apart from one game, get no awards. You see nothing from Xbox except adverts for Game Pass.
And Ninja saying, hey, don't buy an Xbox. This Samsung TV does it all.
Yeah, I mean, it just adds, like, where's your head? Where's your head at? Like, do you really not understand that really the masses don't care? Well, TGA has had a massive amount of eyes on it, bigger than the Oscars. It's on the news, everything. There's so much. And shout out to Jeff Keighley for killing it. Absolutely brilliant show, despite the fact that one platform holder was absent. So, look, but a lot of the theatrics aside, Microsoft can fix it, but everything shows that it doesn't read its audience well as well. And for the longest time, the fanboys have been propping up Game Pass. And that just looks stupid and really pathetic now. So we just need to see get your first-party studios to show us the quality. Show it to us ASAP. You decided to jump into the ring with ABK. Don't use that as an excuse. Like, we're fighting regulators. No, you have all these other studios. Show us the games. Bring up the quality. Do it in the cadence that you said and assured you or us there would be that quality. I'm not saying it's impossible, but my stance on it, no matter how shouty it is, in my opinion, has a lot more utility in the fact that you're demanding them better. All I'm making...
You're not alone.
All we're saying is, don't be comfortable. Microsoft has routinely been comfortable and coasted, and now is an evidence of that. All fans, everyone should just shut up, stop talking, and just show us the games, because Sony don't talk. There was a point where we said, well done, you're very communicative, you've done really well, you've reinforced, this is why we like Xbox. Now it's too much. Now, just deliver the games, because I'm sick and tired. And I like Aaron as well, and he follows me as well, and he's really nice and supportive of some of our content that we did because it's pro Xbox. But at the same time, Aaron, sorry, don't do this. I'm not doing that, by the way. E3, if you guys do this shit, I'm not doing that at that event.
I've never done it.
I'm not doing this sad thing.
Yeah, it may surprise people, but I've never done this in front of a camera. Yeah,
I'll be too drunk. My coordination won't be there.
I'm not doing that.
What we're going to be doing is we're going to do this, guys.
I'm going to give it to you. I'm like,
we're going to do this. We're going to be doing the L.
Yeah. So look, just force these companies to do well. No, don't be nice. Don't be coddle them. And everyone's like, "Oh, you're a pony now." Good. I will back the winners because they've done something in this space. Sony, despite the fact that I don't like the way they do business, comparatively have no wealth compared to Sony to Microsoft. Yet them giving them the runaround like they're amateurs. Embarrassing. So go ahead, deliver that content and quality, and it's going to come when people like us actually constantly berate them, as opposed to literally just massaging them. It's okay, we believe in you. X gonna give it to you. Never gonna happen in a trillion years that I start
X gonna make you wait.
No way.
No way. There's something I said. I'm very well said, by the way. I'm gonna say something very interesting. Something I've always said. First of all, love PlayStation, hate Sony, because I do not like the way the company runs their business. However, you can't deny the studios, the developers, the games, everything are top notch. But here's the thing, and the one thing I've said this on Boom Show, I've said this on other shows when I've done, even when I did Gaming After Dark with Noof Nukem, I said the same thing over and over and over. Okay, is that if Xbox wants to be on the same level as Sony, is that you do not have to have a Game of the Year nomination one year. You have to have a Game of the Year nomination every single year. It's about consistency.
That's
It's consistency is key. Like, for example, my business, right? What I do for a living, I've been in the hospitality industry for about 30 years now. Well, almost 30 years, right? And so now I've left the restaurant business, whatever else. I'm in a corporate setting. It's a whole different ball of wax, right? But the thing is, a lot of people still come to me because now I'm a senior executive and all this other stuff. What do you think? What's your favorite restaurant? Is it the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and this? I said no. Actually, I think the best is, even though I don't eat there, I said the best restaurant in the world is McDonald's. And everybody says, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I said, "No, I don't eat McDonald's. I don't eat it at all. I think it's trash." But the one thing about McDonald's is that 30 years ago, a Big Mac is still a Big Mac, and 30 years later, a Big Mac is still a Big Mac. Consistency is king. And the thing is, and that's why McDonald's and all these other places have endured for all this time, is because they maintain their consistency. Coca-Cola has been the same relatively, minus the cocaine, for the day. I know, it sucks. Chapo's going, God damn it.
I mean, Gaz spent most of his 20s digging through old warehouses trying to find the original Coke cans. But,
So the thing is, but it's the consistency is still there. All right?
Yeah,
you get Stella Artois. People have been getting drunk for 500 years. It's the same beer. Okay? The thing is, it's consistency. And the thing is with Xbox, they need the consistency. You need to have a Game of the Year nomination. You don't have to win.
That 2021 does not put them it doesn't bring them up any notches for the general public, right?
No. But you know what the thing is? The 2021, that should be the level that you should be operating at. And a lot of people say, well, that's hard to maintain that level. I hate to be the one to do it to you, and I hate to be the one to say it to you, but if you don't believe it, Sony has been doing that every single year, minus 2021. But besides that,
they still had some games in 2021, but yeah,
they still. But it wasn't at the caliber of Microsoft that year. Microsoft crushed them. Okay, they put the boot to them that year. For example, 2018, Sony won the year with 2 games.
Yeah.
Spider-Man and I was about to say Call of Duty. Spider-Man and God of War. All right.
Oh, yeah,
but
duh.
they did
Yeah,
something
I was trying
very
to think.
interesting. Yeah, they did something very interesting that year, and they do it in a lot of other years. If their first-party offerings are not going to be, not consistently coming out, let's say every quarter, what do? They bolster that lineup with third-party deals. They make Call of Duty look like it's coming to, that it's only available on PlayStation. They made Red Dead Redemption 2. They made that look like a PlayStation exclusive. You know how many of these schleps used to come up to me and be like, "Oh, this Red Dead looks amazing. I love being a cowboy, so I got to buy a PlayStation." I'm like, no.
Right.
I'm like, you got an Xbox
because it had
at home,
an exclusive like bedazzled saddle or something, right?
Well, that's the thing.
That
Like,
rhinestone
you walk through
saddle.
the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, remember malls? Remember when those things existed? You could walk through a mall, and you'd see the GameStop in there, and it had a huge Red Dead Redemption sign. I'll never forget it. And it said, "Exclusive" in huge letters. And
Yeah,
then
it had
when you
has
got
that
closer-
box, that big box that says exclusive, and then you read the fine
Right.
print, it's like rhinestone
Slacks.
saddle for
Yeah.
Arthur
Exactly.
Morgan.
Yeah, it would say hat and slacks, exclusive hat and slacks. But but everybody
Assless
thought,
chaps exclusive to PlayStation.
well, geez, I'd buy it for PlayStation just for the assless chap.
Like
That
if they
should be a
actually
mod.
shipped them to you. You want medium
Oh,
or
like
large?
You actually got to wear them like
now that
like
Gaz
a special
stepped-
edition.
Now that Gaz stepped away from the camera for just a second, I'll read these two. Percolator 9000 says, "Crap Gaz Gamer 2.0, new name for the chat." And then Chris with the 2-pound super says, "Can Gaz say keep that same energy?" You guys are messy, so messy. We've got a comment here from channel member Dub who says, "I wonder if after years of potentially showing things too early, that's why Xbox is being safe. But I have to say this wasn't the show to hold back," and I totally agree. They had no right to hold back on the biggest show of the year until E3 returns. Don't argue with me, Risk It. I love you so much, but the Video Game Awards is the biggest gaming show of the year right now. Risk It for the Biscuit says, "Phil Spencer can be replaced? That's the most ridiculous question I've ever heard. Sorry, but the guy righted the ship because we skipped Game of the Year awards. Why are you saying this?" Basically is what he's saying. I agree. Like, Phil Spencer is, like Gaz said, he saved Xbox, and he's not leaving, I think, until this generation is over. Probably when they ship the next console, and then he'll retire. And maybe Sarah Bond will take over. And you know what? Sarah Bond's pretty fierce, actually.
Yeah, man. Yeah, she's a great choice for the position after Phil retires. 100%. He gets that golden parachute, just like Fortnite, and he's getting his glider. He's going after the Fiji Islands. That's it, man. Enjoy, and then Sarah Bond can deal with it. Go for it, man. I mean, it's a great thing.
Mag, I've complained a lot about this year. Somehow I've been behind in games to play because there's always great games, but Xbox, Phil Spencer righted what's going on with Xbox, and they made money this year with nothing, no games. And I know that some part of like Phil and the team are like, I know they're going to complain, but look at all the stuff we've done. Look at all the games that have been on the platform. Look at the numbers. Look at the growth. And we had this setback. 2022's games become 2023. We'll talk about that in a minute. JD Gamer, thank you so much for the $10 super. He says, panel question, and I'm going to ask Mag without even reading it first. Says, what if Microsoft has dropped the bag and abandoned the VGAs for a much larger audience, a la the Oscars or the Grammys, if they have enough studios and partners to build an entire segment of their own?
It's not that bad of an idea to put like some kind of advertising in there, because if you think about it, people say, well, that's kind of crazy. That's that's a movie award show. That's a music award show. But you know what though? Sony's there. Sony's at every hockey game. Sony's at every like basketball
They're on commercials.
Game. They're on the commercials. They're on the bloody court. Okay, remember when God of War came out, and then it was on like the Golden State Warriors? They had it like on the actual the court itself. They're playing the game right there.
Spend some money.
News.
Show off your stuff if you're excited about it.
The Super Bowl. You had Spider-Man flying around in subways and whatever the hell else was going on. They got the Hollywood pizzazz, and that's what you need. You need to sell the sizzle, okay, not the steak. All right, and then Sony can sell the sizzle. There's one thing,
like when you're at the Mexican restaurant, and you can hear the fajitas coming like 3 tables away, and you're like, "Oh, dang it! I ordered the flautas."
Yeah, it's so like you know what I mean. They sell the sizzle and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, I know there's a lot of people who've been criticizing Xbox for showing things too early. Can we else just take a seat back and just think that Sony are the masters of showing things way too early? They were showing Last of Us 2 6 years before it came out.
Really?
So, like, you know, yep, it was 6 years, Colt. When they had the whole thing, remember Mooch used to talk about it? He goes, you know, they talk about 6 years. You saw Joel kick the peach over to Ellie. He's playing the guitar.
That's right.
Years before the game came out. Uncharted 4 years before the game came out. So, like, I mean, they do.
I mean,
all
those
that
are
kind of
sure
stuff.
wins. You know that.
Well, yeah, but
you know the studio's a sure. The IP is already proven. You were talking about Last of Us 2, right?
You see what you just said, though? You see what you just said? There's something very interesting.
Yeah,
what I was talking
repeat
about
it.
was consistency. I was talking about consistency earlier. You had just proved my point, because what's happened is Naughty Dog, for example, is one of them, and Insomniac is another example, or some of the others, Sony Santa Monica, whatever. They have proven themselves with consistency over the years that you would know that you just called it a surefire hit, even though the game wouldn't even come out yet, but you already know in your mind it's going to be a surefire hit. And that is what Xbox needs to move forward. They need that consistency year after year, so that the next time the Coalition or whatever, or Compulsion, or the guys who are making State of Decay 3, I always forget their bloody name.
Undead Labs.
Undead Labs, yeah. You know what? So that in 8 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going, oh man, here comes that banger from Undead Labs, because they've proven themselves game after game after game. That is what Xbox needs to do. And it may not happen now. It's going to take 5 years and 10 years. But in that interim time, release banger after banger after banger. And that is how you get the reputation and the consistency. And that's what I talk about. I just caught you saying it, and I'm like, holy crap, he just proved my point. Because before they showed those games 5 years, and you said, oh, but you know those games are going to be great. That's what they need to do. And that's what they will do. I think they need to do that. But they got to keep that consistency up, and they cannot take their foot off the pedal. Where the hell is Gaz? Did he fall asleep?
No. He's. I'm sure it's super important, but I'm going to put a poll up right now, Mag. I'm going to ask the audience, and the reason why I have to say this out loud is the show goes up on Spotify, Apple, Google, and iHeartRadio and stuff. So if you're listening, you'll miss out on the poll, but I'll tell it to you, and then I'll kind of explain what the results will be. Mag, the reason why I'm bringing this up, I'm asking the chat, what are the, I didn't write it like super nice, but what is Xbox exclusives Metacritic average since the Xbox One launched? What I'm looking at is their partnered third-party games that they partner with studios and their in-house first-party games. Now, I'm going to put 4 options. Is their Metacritic average, if you got, now I put this stuff together the other day. I might make this into a video. I screen capped all the data I need. There are 33 games since the Xbox One launched and the Xbox Series consoles launched that are exclusive to the Xbox platform. And their Metacritic is pretty low on a couple of games. Like, there's 4 games on the Xbox exclusive list that are very, very low. Now, when you're talking about the consistency and then surefire hits, I'm actually here to explain to the audience and the people watching. What do we have? I'll get to the point. We have almost 1,000 people watching. Xbox actually has a very good, consistent, quality reviewed games, and this will kind of blow your mind. I'm asking you, what is the Xbox exclusive Metacritic average of 33 games that have come out exclusive to the Xbox One and Series consoles? I've just hit it into the chat right now. The option A is in the 60s, option 2 is in the 70s, option 3 is in the 80s, option 4 is in the 90s. And I want, before you vote, I know some of you have already hit it, pretend like your vote has to hold up in Supreme Court, all right? Like, you have to be accountable if you're wrong. And really think about Xbox's trash games they put out, all that fodder and that failed games they put out, quote unquote. I did the math. 33 games. What do you think the answer is? Mag, I'm going to ask you, since Gaz isn't here, where do you think, I actually want you to give me a number. What do you think the Metacritic average across the board for Xbox exclusives has been over the past 10 years or whatever?
Let's go with 84.
Dang, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'm going to say 84 because there's been a couple of 90s, basically all the Forzas. And by the way, I saw what some of the people are saying in the chat, saying, well, Sony's not consistent. Xbox has been consistent. No, they haven't. Okay, so like if you're scared of my answers, cease to ask scary questions. So here's the thing. I say 84 for Xbox. They have games in the 90s. They have games in the high 80s. Yes, they have games in the 60s and in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken, Crackdown 3 or whatever. But I mean, 60, if you average
60s,
was it 60? I thought it was 50 something. But.
Yeah, no, you're I kind of want to get some more votes in because everyone's doing a pretty good job. There are 4 games that I highlight that are really low rated. Rise Son of Rome from Crytek.
Which is a crying shame. That game was fantastic.
I mean, if it just had a little more variety, it'd be a 70-something, right? Crackdown 3, which I really like, but that multiplayer
I loved it too.
Got robbed. Yeah. Dude, I love you. That's a cool thing to say because I do love it. Undead Labs State of Decay 2 is 68 Metacritic, I think.
Really?
And then the other
that
one,
low?
Yeah. I mean, it didn't launch real great. Like a year later, they really shined it up. It's like, wow, you should have delayed it and we would have been fine. Sea of Thieves is the 4th game that scored at like a 67 or 69 or 68.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I mean, I could look up the numbers, but who cares, right?
Yeah.
There's another game. Wait and get more content. Release that game in 2019. It would have gotten a 70. It would have got a 70-something, maybe even higher.
It should have been launched as a beta like Fortnite. Fortnite was a beta for like 4 years. You know what I mean? Like they could have.
Fortnite is beloved. Did you know that some of the expansion packs for Sea of Thieves, when I was going through actually these are open critic numbers because the difference between PC and console shouldn't really matter in the quality of the game, right? Not really, but some of the DLC mag for the expansions for Sea of Thieves are like in the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah,
I almost kind of wish I could aggregate those together, but instead I just, hey, this is how you launched it. This is how it was reviewed.
That's how you launced it. Yep.
So the chat's spot on.
Yeah, I would have said 84 was my final call.
Okay, I'll say what we have. Let's see, we have over 1,000 people watching the show right now, and we got just 234 votes right now, but the majority at 61% said in the 80s. And 6% said in the 90s. Like there's some people that were really super excited about what Xbox has done. But the games have consistently been very, very good with 4 exceptions. Pretty much. Just 4 exceptions out of 33 games. Actually, PlayStation has the exact same numbers. I would bet that they have this. They've put out 45 games. And I bet you they've had 4 or 5 stinkers. That sounds like a dumb word. But that's just how it goes. You don't always win, right? Mag. The number is at 83%. You were like right there, bro.
I was pretty damn close.
I give that to you, man. That's really good. I mean, think about that. Xboxes, when people tell you, chat, I know we were dogging on Xbox, and for good reason, because I've talked to Phil a lot of times. I've talked to Aaron, and they've told me, Colt, we appreciate your feedback because we know like you live and breathe this stuff. And we know that you're talking to people in the community, and when you say things, it's a reflection of what the core gamers are saying. We want to hear constructive criticism because they need to know where they need to land on this stuff. So when people give you crap that Xbox games have never been proven, it's bull crap. I'm going to tell you that now, and you better listen because it's not bull crap. Their games have consistently been way better than like B+, right? B+?
Yeah, that's a
and guess what, Meg? Guess what, Meg? I did a cursory calculation of PlayStation exclusives since the PS4 launched. They were at an 84 to 85% aggregate.
All right, so basically the same. Now, that's very interesting.
But they've had lots of Game of the Year winners and nominations, and Xbox has not.
And you know what the thing is? And this is something, I know some people think I'm nuts. Well, a lot of people think I'm nuts. But here's the thing. I think that the reason why PlayStation games get more, I mean, obviously, yeah, we all understand that they're the market leader and blah, 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 blah. And they're a more global brand that everybody recognizes the name Sony, right? Like they even use it as like something like people who are not gamers, they'll call anything that's a console a PlayStation. You know what I remember? You remember like
your
in
mom
the 90s?
Would say, turn the Nintendo off.
Yeah, it's like, Mom, it's a Neo Geo. And, and she'd be like, turn that goddamn Nintendo off.
Stupid, Mom. You're so stupid.
It's like, Mom, it's a 3DO. It's a Nintendo. Turn it off. I throw it out the door.
You're such a nerd. You have to correct your mom. Mom, it's actually a 3DO. Yeah. It's running.
Exactly. Can you imagine? I'm playing Demolition Man on my 3DO, Mom.
Wait, they had a game? They had a Demolition Man game?
Yeah, and it was actually like that FMV game, like where they actually had like Stallone like running around.
Did you wipe with the seashells in it?
Yeah, oh God, the game was awful. But you know what? YouTube it. Just go on YouTube and watch the damn game. It's so funny. Anyway, 3DO Demolition Man, terrible. Anyhow, here's the thing. is that I forgot the hell what we were talking about. Oh, right. You know what the thing is the reason why the PlayStation games is because they hit home in a different way. They got that Hollywood flair that people don't forget. And that's what I think it's all about. It's like Last of Us 2, for example. People love it or they hate it, but my God, you can't forget that story. That's what sticks with people. So what they've done is that they've basically created modern fairy tales of sorts. And what they've done is that it sticks in your mind, and it's a talking point, right? And like, yes, there are some Xbox games that do that, like Gears of War. If you're into the Gears of War series, people remember.
I was going to say
the
PlayStation has PlayStation has a lot of games that bridge the gap between what is a video game and what feels like a playable movie. I'm not going to say interactive, a playable movie, right? That cinematic thing. And Xbox has a few, but PlayStation has a lot of them. But
they have a lot, and that's what the thing is. But they also have those global names. Like, for example, who the hell doesn't know who Spider-Man is, right? That was a smart strategic move that when they got Spider-Man, they destroyed everything. Look at what's happening right now. Phase 4 of Marvel is trash. Okay, it's all trash except for one movie.
I mean, it's long in the tooth. It's all long in the tooth, yeah.
What's the one movie that absolutely crushed Phase 4? Oh, Spider-Man, do you say? Is that what you say, sir? That's right, it was Spider-Man.
We just watched the whole Spider-Man series from the 2000s until now with my family, and I'm like, I'm kind of lukewarm on some of the Spider-Man movies, but that last
one name is there.
After going through it, like the Adam Garfield and Tobey Maguire thing, like really got me here, Yeah. And
but like
this stuff is coming for Xbox. The sad thing, Mag, is that they're just finally getting started. Xbox has just finally landed on planet Earth with big games, and they're just now getting ready to show them in the coming year. But it's like this wait sucks. Let me read some of these supers here. Parasite Green, thank you for the 449 pound super. He says, sorry, Sony ponies, but Forspoken looks like it's dead on arrival. More like Broken with those visuals. Cannot wait for NRS to drop. NeverRealm Software to drop the new Mortal Kombat 12 trailer. Of course, Tekken was 8 was looking great. Street Fighter looks really great. So, yeah, that's
you know what, Sony. This is a time for Xbox to strike, and I'll tell you why. January. Sony's about to launch a stinker, okay? They're about to launch Forspoken, which was absolute garbage, and I'm not the only one to say it. So you know what? You launch 2023 with a garbage exclusive. That's where you got to hammer. You got to hit while the iron's hot, and that's when Xbox has got to launch that big show.
Wait till that yellow Metacritic rolls in, right, Mag? Woo! And then have your showcase. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Then you have your showcase, and then guess what? Then you start hitting hard with that. That's all it takes to swing the momentum. That's all it takes. It could take one moment to switch it around. It's just like, they used to have this thing, for anybody who's Canadian, we have TSN, the sports network up here. They had this thing that they had every single night. It was called the TSN Turning Point. And what that was, it was the one point in a game that completely switched the momentum of the game, right? They're like, that's the moment right there where the guy dropped the ball or whatever the hell happened. That was that was the TSN Turning Point for Wednesday. And that's what they used to do. It was the smartest thing in the world. This could be the TSN Turning Point for Xbox.
Turning point.
And then we can have Colt sing about it. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Jamie Gamer with the 10 says, Mr. Mixix says, where are the Xbox Studio games? They have only released Forza Horizon 5, Psychonauts 2, Halo Infinite, Grounded, Pentiment, Flight Sim, Deathloop, Ghostwire this gen already. Shame on them. He's being facetious. He's actually missed a couple of games that Xbox has had. They've actually, while you were away, you're probably listening to a little bit of this, guys, about how Xbox actually released some games. But we're like, where are the big ones you announced in 2020? I got to read this from Randall Thor.
Metacritic average has a fundamental flaw in that. That's just
what would be the flaw?
A Halo, like the average 84. But name me the games that you.
Okay, there's Forza. Hold on, I've got them right here. Forza, Halo, Gears, Forza, Halo, Gears, Forza, Gears, Halo, Forza, Halo, Gears, Forza, Ori 2, Ori 3, Ori 4, Ori DLC, Ori 5, Ori, Halo, Gears, and Forza. Can you read Randolph Thor, one of my best friends? Can you read his super? He's awesome.
Brad goes, I don't know about you guys, but I'm totally unsubscribing and never listening to this Sony-loving, Xbox-hating podcast ever again.
Brad, get out. Please go. And you know what? You better invite me. You know what? I see, by the way, I see Rand and Jez always putting on Twitter. They're like, oh, who should we have as guests? Who should we have for guests? Oh, who's always on the list? It's King David, Colteastwood, Gaz, and Mag. So guess what?
You better earn your place, Mag.
Earn my place. I've had several miserable shows with Randall Thor. They've been terrible, every single one of them. I mean, I've been awesome. I've been great, but he was terrible. But anyways.
Get Mag on there, guys. Get Mag. Mag's so much fun. Hargy Johnny shows up and says, Gaz, Sony don't talk. They sure do to the regulators. Regulators, mount up.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, Zocker87 kept pronouncing the word regulators, and he sounds so nerdy. And if you know Zocker, he's not like a super nerd, but he's like regulators or regulators.
I love it.
Truck Netso, thank you for the $2 super. He says Indiana Jones could make it next year with the movie. I don't know where they're at. It just makes me mad. It's like Todd Howard, Press Machine Games, say, look. Put together 30 seconds. We'll make a cinematic trailer. We'll fluff up the beginning and end of it with a bunch of logos and crap, and they'll never notice. It'll be great. JD Gamer says,
"Amen." Yep.
I want to see it. I'll ask Mag real quick because we were talking about this last week with Gaz and I. Were Mag is Machine Games going to make a first-person Indiana Jones or a hybrid or what?
No. It's a third-person game. It's got to be a third person. You can't have Indiana Jones as a first person. I don't want to see this.
Thank you.
I don't want to see his hands. I don't want to see that. No. You're going to see Indiana Jones. It's going to be like Uncharted. But the thing is, though, from my understanding, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know where I read this, but they said it's going to be a hybrid of different experiences.
Yes.
Yeah, he did. He did say that.
Todd South.
Okay, so I did read that. That wasn't.
He said it in the interview with Lex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that wasn't some weird peyote trip I was on. All right, that was real. Okay.
Oh, you were on peyote, bro, but he did say that.
I got to make sure, I don't know what's reality and what's not reality anymore.
What does he say in Young Guns 2 when they get high on peyote?
Oh my God.
Hey, what's going on?
Where's that chicken? Damn chicken.
Another Gen X reference.
Another Gen X movie. Fantastic.
JD Gamer, thank you so much for another super. He says, after Xbox gets its current slate of games out, they need to revisit the Xbox Movie TV Studios idea because cross-media marketing works. Just look what it did for Cyberpunk and Spider-Man. I said yesterday on Fawn's show, I was at the gym, and I look over, and there's like 90 TVs, and I caught a PlayStation logo. I had just missed a PlayStation commercial before I got to do my workout, and I'm like, why doesn't Xbox ever do this?
Their marketing is completely flaccid as well. Yeah. They're just weird. I don't understand.
Have the money, guys.
They have the money, and hopefully soon they'll have the games. They were advertising Redfall really aggressively after its reveal last E3. But I don't understand the point of that. Yeah, well, what was the point of that? You kept on the back of a CGI game, and eventually, obviously, got delayed into the following year. So that makes you even waste your money. So Microsoft's marketing has always been horrendous. People say High on Life. Jess Gordon was saying, hey, High on Life was coming out. You wouldn't know it because Microsoft is barely...
Actually, I've seen more people talk about High on Life in the chat tonight than I've seen anybody marketing the damn game.
Because they're on vacation, Mag.
Yeah, they're on vacation. Well, you know what?
In the Poconos.
Yeah, well, Iceland doesn't have internet.
Go.
Well, some of them are in Kokomo, the rest of them are in Iceland. If they don't have internet in Iceland, put together 2 antennas and a stick and get going, guys.
Feels like, Aaron, where's your marketing? He's like, I got seal blubber all over my phone. Now it's shorted out.
Here's the thing, when I saw E3 and I did the live reaction show with Boomstick, Mr. Boomstick XL, and my highlight of the entire show was High on Life. And a lot of people felt the same way. They said,
Gaz is in the game.
This is such a shocking... They said, this is such a shocking game. Nobody expected this kind of game. It looks fantastic, right? And now everybody in the chat's talking about the damn game.
And Gaz is literally the knife character in the game. Like, the first thing I thought when I saw it, stab. I'm like, that is so Gaz.
It's Gaz. There you go. Where's the marketing for it? It should be everywhere. Now that it's on Game Pass, they should be marketing the hell out of it like it's an exclusive.
I mean, I don't
understand. When you have a year of nothing, why wouldn't you market that? It makes no sense. You have the money.
Wouldn't you throw that on like Cartoon Network commercials like crazy?
Well, I don't know. That's like stabby eyeballs and stuff. I think it seems like it's mature.
Don't they don't have Adult Swim anymore, but don't they still have?
They don't have that anymore.
Don't they still have? Don't they have like mature content on that channel, like to show that? I don't know, whatever. There's gonna be
I don't
cussing
know,
in
like
that game
South
too.
Park and stuff like that. Like in between South Park, they should also South Park.
Well,
I mean, that's
the
where
internet. Yeah,
So
like, and
I
you
don't
can
know.
maybe there's loads of ways you can do. You can do funny, like they did a bloody God of War had Rick and Morty, but you don't have an advert for the same squanch
same
games
writer.
and the same characters. Like,
Yep.
Well, a lot of people are playing this game, by the way.
I'm gonna
definitely
play it
playing
tonight after the show wraps. But
Is it out?
I've actually
Like, I mean,
heard. I've heard it sucks really bad, and then I've heard from much more people that it's pretty good, and then I've heard from one person that it's really good. So 76 Metacritic, here we come. No,
perfect Game Pass game. No, it is, and it's gonna. It depends on the humor. A lot of people don't like that humor, and the humor carried the game. The big appeal, let's be honest, it looked nice, but the big appeal was how funny it is. If you like Rick and Morty, that kind of humor, if you've played Trover Save the Universe, you kind of know what you're getting. So I'm very excited for it because I love Trover Save the Universe, and no one knows about how many
It's
people
so
play
funny.
Trover Save the Universe in chat. Over 1,000 people, hardly any, and I loved it in VR. Brilliant! It's such a good experience. So I my expectations are in check. I'm like expecting like if there's an appreciable, semi-solid, mechanically good game, but it's lathered in that kind of universe. I'm getting on Game Pass. I'm gonna get some games that genuinely make me laugh. It's very hard in games to actually make you laugh.
yeah, Forspoken doesn't do it.
Forspoken just makes you want to punch yourself.
No, it makes
in
me
the
want to
anus.
cry myself to sleep.
That game, I completed the demo, and it's not that bad. It's just the dialogue is horrendous. I don't know who thought that was a good idea.
Well,
The
Crazy
constant
stuff.
running, the verbal diarrhea as like you're fighting. Like, can you just shut up and punch somebody in the like? Can you imagine getting into a bar fight and you're going, "Oh, that's gonna hurt in the morning." Oh, there we go. Oh, I just slipped on a dentures. Oh, I'm gonna need to go see the dentist tomorrow. Like, no one's doing this.
the dialogue is so unfunny. Like I was playing Need for Speed, and he's like, you gotta slap him up, slap him down, and the girl goes, you should put that on a T-shirt. He goes, yeah, and I'll sell those T-shirts with free oil changes. And I'm like, what part of any of that dialogue is even remotely anecdotal or funny at all? And like, I'm not a great comedian, but like, just because you're not serious doesn't make it funny. I will move forward because I think High on Life's going to be funny. And actually, guys, as you're saying about mechanics, like the shooting and throwing stuff and combinations of traversal looks pretty cool. I hope it's good. You never know.
Here we go. Colt, listen to this. 3 people in a row. High on Life is good and funny. Next person, Dr. Dinglenut. The beginning is great. Jay, playing it right now, it's pretty good.
Awesome.
So a lot of positive stuff in the chat. And then, of course, somebody called foreskin spoken. They said it's terrible. There's like, there's a lot of talk about how bad
flap of
Forspoken
skin
is.
talking. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus H.
I was
Christ.
going to say, have you noticed there has been a trend lately with the PlayStation bangers, like the characters talking too much, guys?
Yeah, I know. It's just like the hubris has gone to another level. Where God of War, I liked it. Horizon, I've got the game. I'm not playing it because of that. Well, I think you can turn it off now. But it's like everything has to be like cinematic. We need to hear the protagonist. If the characters were good and they had some endearing quality, that's fine. As an idea, it's really good because it's like, well, a lot of things happen, and you want to be able to talk about it if you have a companion. But in Forspoken, your companion is a cough that talks a lot. It's so dumb.
Yeah,
It's
I'm so glad
stupid.
you said
bizarre.
at the end of that.
It's a cough.
bizarre. Rand, you know what? Okay,
What did he say?
Very quickly. Here's the thing. When I look down, see, I have two monitors, right? One that's down, one that's up, right? And so when I'm looking forward, I can see what I'm doing, we're seeing what I'm talking about. Sometimes when I look at the chat, I look down. So I'm down like this, right? And my eyes, and I glance my eyes down. Randall Thor sits there and he waits until I look down, and then he snaps a screenshot. And he's been doing this to me for about
Saying that you're
18
sleeping?
Yep, and he's been doing it to me for like 18 months. I can scroll back.
Wait, hold on. This from
Yeah.
from a podcast where Rand is literally on the toilet half of the show and Jez is
Exactly.
drinking.
Exactly, because that's why they won't turn the cameras on, because we're going to see the back of Rand's toilet.
I'm just kidding, Rand. I'm just joking.
You're going to see the Christmas tree air fresheners behind him. Anyways, here's the thing. So he just sends me a picture right now of me with me looking down. Looks like I'm asleep, and it says, "I know it's late, Mag, but you really should wait till after the podcast to take a nap." And I'm like, "This son of a bitch." And I scroll back to 2020, and there he's like, "Dude, I would fall asleep too." It? Yep, Monday, December 20th, 2020. I would fall asleep too if I was on that show.
Rand is a one-note pony, but I was listening to the show the other day, and gosh dang, him and Jess put on a good podcast, man. I don't know how they sit there and talk for 4.5 hours when the news has been slow, but they just do a really good job of just shooting the crap together. I really enjoy their show, and Rand and I will talk for 2 hours on the phone, Mag. Like we'll be on the phone, like I'll be twirling whatever hair I have left in my finger, and walk around with the phone. Yeah,
are you doing that? So what you think about? Anyway, you know their last show that they did was like 4.5 hours.
Oh my gosh,
I was
Xbox
mopping.
has no games.
Oh my God!
Let me read a couple supers here. We got JD Gamer has another one. Wait, I read that one. Red Wolf says, "Do you think?" As you read this, do you think it? Gosh dang it, Red Wolf. Let's send you back to school to write for a minute, okay? As you read this, do you think it would, but if they will, do you think that it could be? And when, if, could, then? This is a good eye. He's messing with me.
What the hell was that? Just messing me up.
He was just me. Shout out to Red Wolf. He's freaking hilarious. Yeah, he just wrote a bunch of garbledy stuff and made me read it like a clown that I am.
He gotcha.
JD Gamer, thank you for another super. He says, as Mag said, I think it's possible Microsoft could be preparing to take over the Super Bowl in a way that Sony could never do. Imagine the halftime show with a barrage of Xbox commercials throughout and Phil Spencer with a wardrobe malfunction.
Perfect. Do it. Do all of that, including the wardrobe malfunction. Do all of it. Good. If you're gonna hit hard in 2023, especially when, and I'm telling you right now, Forspoken is going to fail. I think that's going to be like, you know, when someone's like running a race and someone sticks their foot out just to trip you up just a little bit, you're not going to fall.
Tanya Harding.
Well, that's a little extreme, but let's just say it trips you up enough to slow you down but not knock you down. That's what Forspoken's going to do to Sony right now, because they're riding high off the Game Awards. They're riding high off a couple of big releases in 2022. But guess what? Forspoken's going to trip them up. That's when you Tanya Harding them. So as they're tripping, go, whoa, oh man, I almost fell. And that's where Phil Spencer comes out and just goes, oh, you are going to fall. Bang! And then you hit him with you hit him with a Super Bowl halftime show. Do the showcase in January. Get all this stuff done. Get the hype going for 2023. You'll see how fast people forget how crappy 2022 was. That's all it takes. Remember, the general unwashed are fickle. Okay, the general public are fickle. They don't think about yesterday. They don't think about tomorrow. All they know is today. You know what I'm saying?
What's that? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I got the reference. Yeah. So you know that's what it is. That you pull that off. You start tap dancing for these people. They will follow you like the Pied Piper right into that bloody cave.
Yep.
Just do it. You know what I mean?
Now we went from a Gen X reference to like the 1300s.
The 1300s. That's right.
Yeah. Splendiferous says, Rand's all Mag's fault. That ridiculous name. Splendiferous, thanks for hanging out with us. JD Gamer with another one. Thank you so much for the super. He says, we need to stop saying that PS has a lot of AAA first-party bangers. They don't. I dare any panel to name more than 10. Not possible because what we feel doesn't represent the facts and numbers. I sliver of agree with them, because if you look at the PS4 generation, it was mostly about 8 bangers. But they've definitely done well over 10 from their in-house first-party studios, yes. Gaz,
I mean, Sony did rely heavily on the last... I mean, these are games that really hit hard. God of War 2018 really hit hard to the point where it won Game of the Year, even did Thrones, Red Dead. Uncharted really came to its, like, apex, I think, and I remember at the time Uncharted 4 actually gave it an 8 out of 10 in my review, but I thought the formula was getting stale. Here we are, it's still being regurgitated. The Last of Us, obviously, part 2, very divisive actually, but critically did really well. And again, was in the mind share, all of that. Days Gone was a failure. Days Gone was a game that didn't critically hit well. John Garvin last week said he blamed the woke crowd for his
and then his account went.
Yep, and then Studio came out and said, "Hey, no, look." Sony Ben said, "Look, this does not represent our view." That's such a bad thing because the guy created that game, and the studio is like, "We're embarrassed. This guy's views don't represent ours." So that's another one. So he's right generally, but you had Bloodborne. I mean, these are big games, man. Bloodborne was a force. It was what game of the generation.
Infamous Second Son was, an 8.2, but it's really good.
Yeah. You know what? I played that when I had COVID in September because I never actually played it. I'm like, oh really? God. I platinumed all the other two Infamous games, and I'm like, I never played Infamous Second Son because I was running out of stuff to play in September, right? So, and I was laid out for a week, right, in bed, and I was in front of the TV. So I'm like, let me play it.
Might as well play a PlayStation game.
I platinumed that as well. Infamous Second Son is one of
fantastic,
and I'm like, this game is 9 years old. It's fantastic.
I actually think I finished it last year. I think I finished it last year or the year before, Mag, because I was at like 90% through all the missions, and then I jumped on some other PlayStation games, and I'm like, ooh, I left that one hanging in the breeze, and I went back and finished it when I think it was 2021. In the beginning, I was like kind of tying up loose ends, and yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, so how many bangers? How many bangers on the PS4 and PS5?
Bloodborne, Uncharted, The Last of Us,
Spider-Man, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is amazing.
Ghost of Tsushima is amazing. Even Persona 5, people are starting to realize how good that is. That is a brilliant game.
You guys missed like
Final Fantasy 7 remake.
You guys missed 5 bangers.
Which ones?
The Last of Us 1, The Last of Us 1 again, The Last of Us 1 again, The Last of Us Remastered, The Last of Us 1 remake, and then The Last of Us 1 remake of a remaster of a remake. That's
and the
6
PC
bangers
version
right there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and the PC version. That's 7, JD Gamer, okay? That's 7 bangers right there.
So JD's Gamer's not far off, but I think they have like probably a dozen bona fide hits, and Xbox has about 5 or 6. But they're all
Xbox,
repeated.
Yeah, I mean, they're not been in the conversation. I like Xbox games more because their replayability is more. Because you got Forza series, I play that more. Ori, I completed it. It's a beautiful game. Obviously, a single player game, but multiplayer centric. I am multiplayer centric, although now I'm trying to move because it's just not tenable now, which is kind of sad actually for me. But yeah, different crowds, but it's easier to deliver, in my opinion, Sony type of bangers because they're AAA. They tend to be more linear, cinematic. Doing that is, in my opinion, comparatively easier than delivering a multiplayer game that engages people well, that is mechanically fresh and has a retention on it. Sea of Thieves didn't even meet well critically, yet well, look what it did. Beautiful
20 million
game,
players or something.
20 million players. It became a force because the community naturally propped that game up, because streamers like Summit 1G just showed people what this game is about, the maximum freeform enjoyment of hijacking a ship. These are beautiful worlds. These also take it's very hard to do that kind of game really well.
Can I ask you, Gaz, to throw Halo Infinite the one single only bone you would ever throw them when you say that PlayStation does these single player? Sometimes they get DLC, but there's no multiplayer, there's no cooperative, there's no competitive aspect to it, so they just get to single out on that one thing. But 343 is trying to give you a big campaign and a enduring and a multiplayer suite.
Yeah, well,
I know because you and I have given them such a hard time. But can you at least throw them a bone and say, look at all of the things they had to do and was it expected of a big campaign? Of course, yeah. I'm kind of speaking for you, but Fortnite and Apex only have to deliver the compelling competitive multiplayer thing. They don't have a big, right?
Yeah.
But they should be able to
in that sense, yeah, absolutely. Halo has big shoes to fill in because of its legacy is so high. It's judged on a very high standard. It has to deliver excellent single-player game and multiplayer. Has to do co-op. Obviously, it didn't do co-op. Has to do Forge. Well, it didn't do Forge, but it has to do multiple biomes and stories and everything. It failed on a lot of those parameters, but At the same time, yes, I agree that Halo is judged on a higher standard, but that comes with the territory because
Sure.
Halo is held at the apex. Halo killer, there isn't one except Halo Infinite. But yeah, that's it.
Parasite Green with another £5 super says, right, Colt, Mag, Gaz, the quality gaming community is nearly 3 a.m. in the UK. Time I go to bed and dream about Xbox releasing first-party titles. Good night, my friend. We're almost done here. Cloaked Onyx says, I can understand that. Callisto Protocol puts me to sleep. $100 to bore me so much it put me to sleep. I like the game. I don't love it. I'm really still playing through it.
I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying Callisto Protocol. It can be frustrating. Absolutely. There are some designs that are bad, but generally, visually, this game is astounding. Atmospherically, nowhere near as unsettling as Dead Space. I will say that. Like I
have had some jump scares, though.
Yeah, the jump scares are cheap, but they're easier to do. I don't rate the jump scares at all, but the game is still carrying me forward. But the core narrative is still carrying me forward. It's a great game. I might make a video on it. I'm recording clips of it, but don't be put away with it. If you really wanted to play and you thought, oh, the reviews are really bad, I think the reviews are really harsh considering the quality of the game. I am really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a 7 or an 8 by anybody's standards, I would think.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Johnny Sin says, I'll wear my Xbox hat in my next Girls Gone Wild vid. I don't know what that is, but thank you for wearing your Xbox hat and whatever it is that you're doing. Robert Dillon with a $5 says, High on Life. You're going to love this, Gaz and Mag. Robert Dillon says, High on Life is a mix of Sunset Overdrive and Eddie Murphy Raw.
Perfect. I'm sold.
That sounds amazing.
That's all I need. I don't need anything else. Thank you.
No, I just remember his McDonald's bit just cracks me up to this day. It's one of the clean bits where he talks about how they had to make their own McDonald's at home. I think that was in Raw. If it wasn't the other one.
Yeah,
Captain Chats, thank you so much for the super. Says Xbox really do need to have a Nintendo Direct style or something in January to set the tone. Great show, guys. Keep me going on the night shift. And dude, seriously, thank you for listening to us while you're working. Shifts can suck when they just seem to go on and on, but we're glad we get to hang out with you for real. And thanks to Gaz and Mag for being here. Dead Planet says Project Dragon, Contraband, in Exile, Compulsion. A great super chat from Dead Planet because Mag, we know about half of the games that Xbox hasn't officially even announced, right? I mean, you probably do. That's kind of a problem. Is that an internal problem with us?
Well, no. I mean, the thing is, you got to always have that ace up your sleeve so that you have something to bolster your lineup for later on, right? You can't just show all your cards in one shot and just let it go, and then be like, "Yep, there it is," and they're like, "All right, what?" Because you know what happens when you give something. You can always say, give them an inch, they take a mile, but it totally is true. It's like when you're working and you bust you bust your hump and you do this and everybody's like, oh wow, I just did this. Oh wow, you just did 2 people's work. Then they're going to turn around and say, well, why don't you just do 3 people's work?
Yeah.
Right? So it's going to be the same thing, right? It's going to be the same thing with fans. You give fans 5 games, you give them 10 games. Then if you give them 10 games and you give them 15, they're going, well, why didn't you give me 20? That's not enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, man.
At E3 2022, they showed us 15 games. I want to see 20 next year.
Right.
In Gaz's case, if you give somebody 2 inches, they'll take a mile.
Well, I'm not going to say what I was about to say on this show. Not this show, anyway. Anyhow, yeah, that's the thing. So, you always gotta keep something on the side so that you always have something to bolster your lineups for later on when you have quieter years that are coming up. You don't think that Phil Spencer does the same thing that what's his name, that Kevin Feige does with Marvel? He's got Phase 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 already lined up. Bill's got the next 10 years lined up. Okay, he's probably got all the games lined up until he retires. Okay, so he's like, all right, well, when this comes up, then I retire. But he's got it all lined up, and he's got things but the thing is, you can move them around. So what you do is you move your pieces around, just like we talked about actually the last show that we did, the war table, right?
Yeah.
Sony does this, counter with this. Sony does that or whatever, or some other competitor like Apple eventually throws their hat in the ring, and in 5 years, all of a sudden they throw this game down. That's when Xbox can go, you know what? Release the hounds. We got these 2 games that we didn't talk about. Let's plug them here and here to battle whatever, so that you're constantly fighting for that mind share, right? And that's what they're going to do. They're not going to tell us everything. I mean, Jez always gets the scoop on the working title.
That's why
and things
we know.
like that, right? Yeah, and that's why we know these things, a lot of them, right? And I hear different things. I do some work for Ubisoft and stuff like that, so I know what they're doing. But like I would imagine if you're somewhere close to the Microsoft camp, of course you're going to know other things that are going on, right? But it's just the way it is. But I said, but the general public, we're not going to know about it, and I don't really need to know about it unless it's something tangible in my hand that I can play soon.
Yeah, I mean, at least show us proof of life of those games that you announced, 2 years ago or whatever. JD Gamer has one more jab. He says, "Let me help. Bloodborne, Spider-Man, and DBH. Dragon Ball Hog, DBH. Double Barrel Hot Dog, DBH. Doobie Brothers Hamburger." What's DBH? What's the DBH game?
No idea now. I have no idea.
Donkey Brother Handsome. Guys, what's DBH stand for? Give me a acronym. DBH.
Dragon B. Heron.
Someone in the chat, can you please tell us what it is? You know how many people do that to me when I'm on a show and they're like, "Mag, you fraud, what about JSK?" And I'm like, what? I'm like, what the hell is JSK? Stop giving me abbreviations for stuff I don't know. I'm old. You got to give me the whole damn name.
Okay, JD Gamer says Detroit become human. Okay.
You know what, JD Gamer, how the hell was I supposed to know that?
Are you serious? Are you serious? Who did that, JD Gamer? Give me your address.
JD, you could have just wrote Detroit, and then I would have said
coming to your house.
Listen,
DBH.
The rule of thumb is
Detroit, Beverly Hills.
Yeah, you can only abbreviate something that's sold 25 million or more because then it's on the tip of your tongues. Like Lord of the Rings, LOTR. I know what that means.
No, you have to say over 2 million because I don't think Detroit sold over 2 or 4 million.
Oh God,
copies,
no, it doesn't deserve. It does not deserve. I mean, I heard it was great, but it does not deserve an abbreviation.
We're blasting his Amazing Super, but he says Bloodborne, Spider-Man, and DBH or Detroit weren't made by first-party studios at the time, so they don't count. JD, they do count because I counted Rise, I counted Crackdown, I counted Recore in my analysis. I counted. Yeah, I mean, Recore was one of the other lower rated games. I think it was like a 72.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
He says, so that leaves Uncharted, God of War, Gran Turismo, and I may have missed 1 or 2. Prove me wrong. I mean.
Well, the thing is, if I can't play them on Xbox, then they're an exclusive.
I mean, PlayStation has a lot of those because studios will just outright just miss. They're like, "What's an Xbox?" And then they're like, "Oh, that 3DO thing."
Then the 3DO thing. But you know what? By default, that kind of makes it an exclusive, even if it's not a Sony-made game. They put in the, you know what I mean? They put in they put in the legs and they put in the money to make it exclusive, essentially, right?
Yeah,
so, I mean, you're still like.
And JD, I hear you, JD, because. Those are there are games like Bloodborne was partnered, published, they own the IP. So like those games really are exclusive. They belong to PlayStation. They helped make them. They funded them. So they count, we couldn't count Ori or Ori 2. We couldn't count Forza Horizon 3 or Forza Horizon 4. They didn't own Playground back then. It's just kind of just how it is. It's not a big deal because the whole point that we were making that JD probably agrees with us is that all those games are in the 80s to 90s anyway. So, Gaz, it is super late in the UK. I had so much fun here today. How are you doing, bro? Are you holding up? What do you have planned?
Always with Mag, it is always a pleasure. Like I told you, Mag should co-host. He's too good in this space. The energy is good. Always. I'm very grateful for you, Mag. It's always fun, man. It's just good to have a good chat. Sorry I had to disappear. I had to make some crap gamer videos because you called me that. Thank you for that insult. I'm sorry, crap, if you're watching this. Go. Yeah, I don't care. But yeah, generally, thank you, everyone. Chat. Listen, I don't care. I was just going to pander to you and be nice. No, I'm not. Xbox, bring it. Phil Spencer, I'm sorry if everyone's being harsh on you. The human toll of pressure, it's coming to, I think about it, like what it's like to be him or Jim Ryan and all these people, and they are humans at the end of the day, and especially me with all my vitriol. And I'm not just saying this I don't give a shoot if, people come at me, but I do genuinely think this. Like Phil Spencer looked stressed, like the FTC he said it took years away from him. It's keeping him up at night. This is also a guy who actually saved the brand when Satya Nadella asked him where to go with it. So whilst I do it sometimes with a sense of guilt where I'm just rinsing people really hard that are really trying, like Bonnie Ross. But in this game, like no one is propping up a nice safety belt and net for me and my performance and things. So
sure,
why should we do the same? Ultimately, look, we appreciate the efforts of everyone at Xbox, but you need to do better. If you don't do better, we'll call you out. If chat has an issue with that, that's fine. I don't care. But my attitude will always be, you be unrelenting with Microsoft until they deliver and they build and earn that benefit of the doubt, which is what I give Sony benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, they'll work hard for us. And I knew going into the show that we were all going to say our piece. And if you're not a psychopath, you'll say your complaints on one show and then you'll move on, because I think next week will be totally different from the worst week that Xbox has ever had in a long time, which was last week, coming over the weekend, right? So we're not psychopaths. We'll say our piece. And you guys were in the chat. We're super good sports. You made the jokes about Gaz's name. He's wearing the pony hat. He's so totally owning it. And I had a really good time, and I'm glad that we got it off our chest. But Mag, bro, it was so fun with you, bro.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. What can you tell the audience? How can you sell yourself to the masses, to all the people who watch the show? I really appreciate you, bro.
Oh, man, you know what? Thank you guys for having me on the show again. As always, Colt and Gaz, rack them up. Gaz Gamer out. So there he is. So anyways, in all seriousness, it's always a pleasure being here on the show. I have such a great time with you guys. And of course, chat, you guys are amazing. Always coming out every single week. And usually on a Monday, if I'm running around or doing something, I'm always lurking in the background listening to this show. So it's always great to be here. But guys, I don't need to sell myself. You know where to find me. I don't do the YouTube thing very often unless I'm doing somebody else's show. I mean, I won't do my own thing. So you always find me on someone's show somewhere. But you'll find me on Twitter, because you know what? Twitter doesn't block the stuff that I come up with, especially when I do the licensed music.
Right, I love that.
That's the point of contention with a lot of these things, right? Can you imagine? Like, I just did a video the other day with the People's Court theme music, and when I did Pegasus Court. Yeah, so I did the Pegasus Court skit, and then all of a sudden, like, can you imagine if I put that on YouTube? I'd have the guy who wrote People's Court suing me.
Pause. Meg, do you remember what the name of the spokesperson was for People's Court? The guy that was
no. The guy who would stand outside with the microphone?
The guy who would stand outside and interview them after they got just ham-fisted? Yeah. You ready? Doug Llewellyn.
Unbelievable. How the heck do you remember that?
My mom watched People's Court all the time. We walk in the room like, oh, gosh, Mom's watching People's Court. Do you remember the name of the judge?
Oh, God, no.
Judge Wapner.
Judge Wapner, that's right, yeah.
He was really super old, like he had no emotion. He's like, I mean, you broke his car window. I mean, and then Doug Llewellyn would have, like, remember in the 80s, they had the long stick mic, kind of like
stick mic.
Yeah, with, like, the big stem with the little ball on the end. He's like, so, Janice, how do you feel about killing your neighbor's dog? Shout out to any of the Gen Xers, anybody who was born in the late 70s or the early 80s who get that we're not completely crazy. Oh, yeah. Please hit the like button. If we get to 500, I'm going to get us out of here because it's super late for both my friends here. Thank you so much. You'll need 5 more likes. We are done. Thank you for supporting what we do. Mag, thank you so much. I'm going to have you on again.
You guys.
I'm going to be bugging you soon. Have a good evening, and hopefully I'll get some YouTube content out. I know Gaz and I got stuff in the works. We're going to hit it. We'll see you guys later.
I'm making a